Good afternoon. In accordance with sections 45 and 53 of the Planning Act, this meeting of Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto, thank you, is called to order. Sorry. Camera. That's on, and I just need to, had so much time before this meeting started to do all my stuff and didn't quite get it done. One sec. Let it open. Okay. One sec. I'm just having trouble moving my screen. There we go. I think I'm okay. All right. Okay, we're good to go now. My name is Mary Ann Casson. I'll be chairing today's session. Panel members today are Mr. Bartolo, Ms. Klein, and Ms. Sankar online. And our Deputy Secretary Treasurer today is Simon Lamb. We acknowledge the land we're meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. Committee of Adjustment public hearings are conducted in a hybrid in-person and virtual format. Some applicants and participants will make their submissions in person and others will participate virtually by electronic means through WebEx. The meetings are also streamed on the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel, and anyone wishing to view the hearing may watch on YouTube. For those participating virtually, when your item is called, you'll be unmuted by the moderator. For both in-person and virtual participants, Committee of Adjustment staff will share presentations submitted in accordance with the written submission deadline. People attending in person today who want to receive a copy of the decision of the committee on an application must fill out a decision request card, and those participating virtually need to submit a written request for a decision by email. If you do not agree with the decision of the committee, you may be able to appeal the decision to the Toronto Local Appeal Body, or in some limited circumstances to the Ontario Land Tribunal. However, the provincial government amended the Planning Act and generally removed rights of third parties to appeal Committee of Adjustment decisions. Only the applicant, the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, specified persons and public bodies are permitted to appeal decisions of the committee. Today, I will call each item in the order listed on the agenda. Where an application is contested, the agent or applicant will proceed with their presentation. When an application is uncontested, the committee may not require a presentation and may ask questions or take the matter into committee for a decision. Any presentation or other materials you wish to submit to the committee must have been emailed in advance of the hearing. Staff and committee members cannot accept new materials at the hearing today. The applicant or agent will proceed first and will make a presentation to the committee. Then individuals either in support or opposed to the application will be invited to speak. Generally, we first call on speakers in the hearing room and then those participating through WebEx. Each speaker, including the applicant, will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. I will comment when you are reaching the 5-minute mark. When all speakers are finished, the applicant or agent has an opportunity to rebut those issues that were raised by the speakers. This will mark the end of the discussion, and the application will then be taken into committee for a decision. So just to start off today, we had an item that was listed in the schedule for 10 o'clock, but was actually, the public meeting notice was for 2 p.m. So it's item number 10. 3905 Bathurst Street. And so we are going to start with that. And I have to pull up that agenda because I've got the afternoon agenda in front of me. So just bear with me for one moment. All right, 3905 Bathurst Street. This is an application to alter the existing apartment building by converting the storage spaces on the ground floor into 4 new residential units. One moment. The variances are for amenity space per unit, indoor amenity space per unit, and long-term bicycle parking spaces. On file, we have a survey, plans, a parking justification study, site photos, a transportation services report, one letter of objection. We have our applicant.
Hello there. My name is Andy Verhill from AVA Design Studio. I'm the agent for the applicant.
All right, thank you. And is there anyone in the audience here today on this item? No? All right. I believe we have someone online, correct?
Madam Chair, we've tried to reach out to the resident. We were unsuccessful.
All right, maybe they thought it was at 10. Okay. All right. Does anyone want a presentation on this committee? No? Do we have any questions for the applicant? I think it's pretty straightforward what is proposed. I don't think we need anything. Unless there's something you want to point out to us, we'll just take it into committee for a decision.
Actually, no, I mean, the drawings speak for themselves.
Right. Okay. All right, let's take it into committee. Ms. Sankar?
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair. If my colleagues have nothing else to add, I do believe that this is very minor. No objections. Transportation is an agreement. No staff report, anything extra. I believe it meets the 4 tests. And as such, I put forward a motion to approve this application as is.
Thank you very much. And a seconder, Ms. Klein? All in favor? That is unanimous, carried. The application's been approved.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And Mr. Secretary Treasurer, do we have any deferrals this afternoon?
Through you, Madam Chair, we do. We have one on record is number 204 Greenfield.
All right.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and committee members. This is Meng Di Sen. The address is 2710 14th Avenue, Markham. And I'm the agent representing the owner. We would like to request a deferral to adjust some of the concern from the planning report.
Okay. And do we, anyone here in the audience on this item? Oh, okay. All right, let's bring you forward and get your name and address to start. Make sure the button is on.
My name is Christopher Ewan, Y-U-E-N. I'm
Right.
at 200 Greenfield. I'm the immediate neighbor to the west of this property.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you heard the applicants requested a deferral of the application?
I did, and would there be a deferral date granted today? or-
Not at this point.
Okay.
It will come back at some point and you would be re-notified of when
Oh,
that will
perfect.
be.
Okay, so maybe that'll give us some time to kind of review some of the things that we should have reviewed as well. But I don't know if, do I get an opportunity to just to ask a few questions today?
Not at this point because
Okay.
we're not considering.
Oh,
the
because it's being
application.
deferred. Okay.
Right. But you could maybe try contacting the owner and see if you can get the answers that you're looking for.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right. Let's take this into committee. Mr. Bartolo?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair, through you. I'll put forward a motion to defer this application to allow the applicant to respond to the comments from city staff and recirculate.
All right, thank you. And a seconder? Ms. Klein? Thank you. All in favor of the deferral request? That's carried. The application has been granted.
Thank you, Madam Chair and committee members. Have a good day. Enjoy.
You're welcome. All right, so we are back to 13, is it? Yeah, item 13, 11 Buxton Road. This is an application to construct a new two-story detached dwelling. This was deferred by the committee on November 6, 2025, to give the applicant an opportunity to revise the application in response to ravine and natural feature protection staff concerns. Do we have our applicant?
We do, yes, Madam Chair. Thank you. Alexander Overholt, speaking from 1140 the Queensway in Etobicoke.
Thank you very much. And before we begin, do you have any changes to make to the application today?
Everything that's illustrated within the latest public notice, which is the pursuance of 3 separate variances, is indeed correct. So no additional changes. Everything that's been uploaded to AIC is correct.
All right, thank you. And perhaps you can just give us a brief explanation of when it was deferred, how the concerns of our NFP have been addressed?
Of course, and I'm happy to actually walk everyone through the history of this project. You did touch upon the deferral as well, so I appreciate that, Madam Chair. We actually were pursuing an application originally with 7 variances. We worked with community planning, of course, to revise our application prior to our November 6th hearing. Through our discussions with community planning, we eliminated 4 variances and modified the severity of 1 to be less aggressive, which is reflective in a current public notice. We then pursued the November 6th COA hearing. Upon receiving the memo from RNFP, which indicated deferral request due to our potential injury to a tree in the front yard, we deferred our application and worked very closely with the examiners at RNFP. We have revised the foundation systems within TPZ of the subject tree as reflected in the architectural drawings. You can see that in the basement plan and the site plan. We have pulled the foundation plans backwards and have added a series of helical piles. After a series of back and forth revisions with the RNFP, they are now satisfied. Yes, right there in the front. Thank you very much. They're now satisfied that our interruption to the TPZ with the installation of the helical piles, which of course will be installed in the supervision of the arborist, meets the needs of the RNFP, and they have indicated that in our latest forestry memo that was uploaded to AIC. So as it stands, the difference between now, this application, and the previous application is that we're pursuing 3 variances, and we made adjustments to our foundation system to appease RNFP.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
You're very
All
welcome.
right. Does anyone have any questions for the applicant? No? All right. I think there's nobody. Oh, there is somebody. No, there isn't. Sorry. Having trouble reading everything. No, nobody here. And there's nobody here in the audience on this item. No. All right. So I think we can take this into committee. Would someone like to make a comment, make a motion? Oh, I missed it. Did she? Ms. Sankar, did you have your hand up? No. Mr. Bartolo, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. In reviewing this application, it's been pared down since the last one, and ravine and natural correction.
Natural feature protection.
Natural feature protection, thank you. I do not have the same issues that I had with it before, and it's been circulated, and given the location of it and the lack of impact behind it, I'm less concerned about some of these setbacks, especially the rear porch projection. So for those reasons, I think it meets the 4 tests, and then I think it's a supportable application.
Thank you. Seconder.
I can put forward a formal motion.
All right.
I will put forward a motion to approve this application subject to the conditions of the urban forestry memo attached.
Okay. Seconder. Ms. Sankar, thank you. All in favor? That is unanimous. The application has been approved.
You just made two homeowners very happy. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too. All right, item 14. 115 Sandringham Drive. This is an application to alter the existing two-story detached dwelling by enlarging the rear covered porch. This was deferred from November 20th, 25. And the variance is for lot coverage, rear platform setback from the east lot line. On file, we have the minutes from November 20th, survey, plans, a deferral request. I have a deferral request. 4 letters of objection. Am I reading that correctly? Do we have Mr. Benskowski on?
I'm here, Madam Chair.
Oh, are you requesting a deferral?
No, I think that just wasn't taken down off of the AIC from the previous deferral
Oh,
request.
Yeah, I didn't look at the date. You're correct. Sorry. So you're here.
I'm here, Madam Chair.
And do you have any changes to make to the application?
We do not.
All right. Does anyone want a presentation on this? We do have I believe we have a neighbor in person. Great, thank you. So we do have somebody here. So if you could make a brief presentation, please, that would be helpful.
Absolutely, Madam Chair. If we could go to page 7 of the proposed plans. So, Madam Chair, this is somewhat of a unique circumstance in the coverage has previously been approved at 33% for the dwelling. The increase in coverage, if we could go to page, I believe it's page 7 of that. So I just want to start with the general intent and purpose of the lot coverage requirement is to ensure that the building envelope does not cover too much of the site so that there is sufficient space for outdoor amenity space as well as setbacks. And that's important when we're discussing what has transpired on the property. This application proposes only to add a covered roof over an existing rear deck. The previously approved coverage of 33% for the dwelling and all of the living spaces will remain at 33%. There is no additional living space being requested with the application before you today. The dwelling remains as per the minor variance application in 2024. Now, where this gets interesting, and I'm going to read the definition and the provisions of the zoning bylaw that deal with lot coverage. So in lot coverage, in the zoning bylaw 10.5.30.40, subsection 2, it states parts of platforms that are not permitted encroachments. In the residential zone category, any part of a platform, such as a main wall, such as a deck, porch, or balcony, or similar structure that does not encroach into a minimum building setback, essentially is not included in the lot coverage, unless the total area of these platforms exceed 5% of the lot area. So in this instance, the covered platforms exceed 5% of the total lot area. That is why it is now being included in coverage. Okay, so in this instance, the 5% that would be permitted is at 38.77 square meters. Okay, what's existing from the previous approval is 33.04 square meters. So the previous approval, which had covered platforms, was not including that area in the coverage. The proposed additional roof at 19 meters squared is very important to note that it does not extend past. That's it right there. If we could just go back up, that's perfect. The previous one, please. Yes, if we could zoom in on the top left. So that right at the back, where that revision cloud is, that is the only request for an additional covered platform area. There is no other request that is before you for the covered platform area. This platform area below it was an existing concrete patio as per the approved building permit plans. The addition of this covered roof area does not remove any soft landscaping or create any drainage issues. Additionally, this increase of lot coverage does not create any portion of the roof that extends past the existing rear wall of the dwelling or the existing side wall of the dwelling. It is proposed to be built in line with what is existing and approved. I would also note that just to the right of the proposed roof is an existing roof that was permitted. So it is really just an extension of the existing roof that is permitted with a concrete patio that always was below it from there. So again, that rear porch does not extend past, limiting any type of setback issues on adjacent dwellings. In terms of the impact and the reduction from the side yard setback, again, I'm just going to go back to the intent and purpose of the side yard setback standard is to provide appropriate spatial separation between dwellings to allow for access and maintenance, as well as maintaining a consistent pattern of building locations. Again, in this instance, it is not any closer than the existing permitted sidewall of the dwelling at 1.52 meters. It is exactly in line with what is there today. In my opinion, this mitigates any type of impact to the adjacent neighbors, as again, the sidewall would remain. I know what I would also say is I don't believe any adverse impacts would arise from this, and the adjacent neighbors really have an existing situation that's there today. I'm happy to answer any questions that the committee might have, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? No? All right. Is there one of the elevation drawings that shows what this looks like?
Madam Chair, there's no perspective, which is really what would help most, because that would show, you know, in an orthogonal view. But essentially, it's just an extension of an existing covered roof that's there. I also know it is open side walls. It is not a closed side wall. So again, you can see through to the neighbors through there. There's no obstruction of the extension of the wall.
All right. It sort of looks like there's a wall. Am I looking at it?
That's, again, Madam Chair, that's the existing wall of the recessed portion. So if we go to one of the floor plans, you'll see it does recess and undulate a little bit at the rear. Oh, Madam Chair, there is one more thing I did want to say. The increase in coverage, it's important. The front porch is actually recessed on both the first and the second floor. So the front porch that is covered is actually in line, there we go, is actually in line with the dwelling itself. It doesn't protrude further from the front main wall. It's actually in line with the front main wall on the first and the second floor. So it's essentially a perfect box. The house is now with a covered roof.
All right. Thank you. So we don't have any questions for you right now. Let's hear from the neighbor first. Excuse me. You can come forward and start with your name and address, please.
Madam Chair and committee, my name is Cheryl Steinberg. I am representing my husband and myself. We're the registered property owners of 113 Sandringham, which is immediately next door to 115 Sandringham. Okay. First, just to set a baseline, in August 2024, when the applicant first requested approval to increase their lot coverage, as the applicant stated, from 30 to 33%, we reviewed the plans and we did not object. We also expected the applicant to follow these plans as approved by the Committee of Adjustment. However, this did not happen. The additional request to increase lot coverage to 39.7% is essentially 40%, is over 3 times the size of the city's 30% coverage allowance. In our opinion, this is not minor. The extensions of the rear covered porch and platform, both of which have been fully constructed, they're almost ready to move in, so it's all done, without approval, are now extremely close to our backyard and our property line. They infringe on our privacy in our backyard and patio. The platform, which is now about double in size what was shown in the approved plans, is elevated. It's mere feet from our yard and very close to our patio dining area. The roof, which I think is the biggest issue, is also about double the size of what we were told was being built. It's naturally also extremely close to our property line. It blocks the afternoon sunlight onto our patio and surrounding garden. Furthermore, it appears as if a second-story balcony will be built on top of the entire platform or the entire roof, including the unapproved extension, which would give the applicant an expansive direct view across our entire backyard, as well as into our second-story bathroom. This would result in a huge invasion of our privacy, both outdoors and indoors. We've been told by the applicant that they don't plan on building a second-story balcony. However, we don't have a lot of faith in any such assurance, given, one, they fully built the extended rear porch roof and platform beyond what was approved by the COA and what was conveyed to the neighbors. They violated the tree protection zone by building the rear porch platform extension and roof directly on top of it and the basement underneath into the majority of the tree protection zone. And this has resulted in a Toronto Forestry contraventions file that is still open. And finally, their original building plans, which were approved by Toronto Building, have the rear porch roof labeled not reviewed as a balcony. However, this text is not on revised plans, so this is a major concern for us. We've lived in the neighborhood for 25 years. We've never had an issue with any of our neighbors, any development issues, and we consider ourselves to be fair and reasonable people. And I can assure you that had the applicant conveyed in their initial 2024 Committee of Adjustments application what they actually built and how that build exceeded the city's lot coverage by almost 40%, we would have most definitely expressed our concerns and we would not be here today. We urge you not to approve the additional variances requested and reinforce the rules that the city has in place for a reason, to protect people's privacy and treat our neighborhoods with the respect they deserve.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for the resident? No? All right, thank you. All right, let's, we have somebody else in person or no? Okay, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
I think you have two microphones on,
I have two microphones on.
apparently. Giving us feedback.
How is it now?
That's better.
Okay.
Oh, it came back again.
Is it?
It still appears to have two microphones.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where the second one is.
Yeah. Try speaking again.
Yeah, no, I can hear it. I've turned off my sound off.
Do you have your phone and computer on?
No, I just have my computer.
Oh yeah, you can only have YouTube or WebEx. You can't have both on at the same time. That could be causing
I'm
it.
on WebEx.
So you don't have YouTube open?
Nope. And I didn't have a problem the last time.
Oh,
Now
I
I've
think it's
been
okay.
removed.
I think you're okay now.
Now I'm okay?
Yep. All right, let's
Except I
start.
now I can't see anything, so I have no screen. So I'll just speak to it. It doesn't
That's
matter if
okay.
I can't see you.
Could we start with your name and address, please?
Sure. My name is Bonnie Flatt, and my husband and I are the registered owners of 19 Marchwood Drive. So we share a back property line with 115 Sandringham.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm not going to repeat everything that Cheryl said because I agree with her on every point. And again, I'm not someone who's an expert in reading plans, so I can't comment on all the things that Jonathan had shared. What I will say is that, you know, when the application was first deferred, it was for us to meet with the owner to find some common ground here. So we did meet with Jonathan on October 4th. We shared all of our concerns, and there were a number of us from the neighborhood meeting. We put together, as you'll see in my submission, recommendations that would make us feel more comfortable with what they were doing, and had gotten from Jonathan an agreement that the owner would accept it. We then went back to say, okay, we're willing to withdraw all of our objections provided you follow a certain number of steps, one of which was to send us back a signed agreement agreeing to everything that was in there, doing some of the things before winter, and committing to doing other things after. And they were pretty significant in terms of things like the porch that Cheryl mentioned, and also putting up trees to at least create an element of privacy. Within a few hours of sending that request, the owner came back and said, we're at an impasse, no further discussion. So they've gone ahead and built this huge house that, had we known the extent of it, we would have objected way back. They've put in a sport court with the remaining 25 feet of the backyard. A majority of it is covered by the court now, which will have lights and noise. There are no trees. You can see from the pictures I sent how close the property is to our house, and the back is all floor-to-ceiling windows, and right now they've been keeping the lights on all night so that it shines directly into our house. And so for us, our concern is we don't trust the neighbors. We've been in the neighborhood for 30 years, have not had any problems with anyone else who's been developing. And we're now at a position where we request that the application not be allowed. And at a minimum, if you do allow it, that they agree to comply with the things laid out in our email of, what's the date? Of November 8th. Thank you. It's very challenging talking when I can't see anybody on the screen, so.
That's okay. We can hear you. Do we have that correspondence from November 8th? Is that part of the package?
It's part of, in the letter that I submitted,
Okay.
it's page 3 of the letter.
I see it now. Sorry. All right. I think we should bring back Mr. Benskowski to address the concerns that have been raised and try to get some clarity on these things.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to first start off by saying we have no issue with if meritorious put a condition that there can be no platform on the second floor. There is never an intent for it. The dwelling has been constructed without any doors on that rear wall, and that's evident also from the plans as well as the pictures. But we would be okay with a condition of approval that does not permit that. There is no intent for that. I want to just circle back to a couple of things before I address Mrs. Flatt's comments about the discussions we've had. Again, in terms of the dwelling itself, there is no request for any increase in the dwelling. So the existing coverage today, if we include the existing covered platforms, is 37.2%. Okay, that's including the covered platforms. Where our request takes us up is, again, the addition of that small area at the rear. Okay. Also, there was a comment made by the adjacent neighbor that it's infringing in their setbacks on their property. That roof platform on the second floor is proposed to be in line with the 1.52 meter approved side yard setback. It is not going any closer to the side yard or the side wall, and it is not going any further from the rear yard. I'm very hesitant to address the discussions that were had with neighbors because it didn't get anywhere, but it was brought up. So if we could actually go to that letter that was put on the screen, and sent in by Mrs. Flatt. We did have a quite a long meeting, actually. It's just down a little bit. And I, I think it's interesting, Madam Chair and the rest of the committee, if you look at what they're asking for this not to be an objection, not one thing had to do with the actual variances that were requested before you. Please keep going down. Actually, it's on the next page, I believe. Yes, not one of the requests address the actual variances that are before you today. It got to the point where they wanted to dictate the type of lights that were going to go in the rear yard, the type of surfaces for the sport court, which I will add is permitted by the zoning bylaw, and it has been sent into the city and complies with the rear yard landscaping variances. So none of these requests here actually dealt with the variances that are before you today, which might tell us something about what the actual objection is to today by these neighbors, as again, not one dealt with the actual variances that are before you today. I think that is all I really have to say. Again, just remembering that this coverage increase is just because the platforms exceed the 5%, the actual dwelling, all walls being built in line with that. I'm happy to answer any questions the committee has.
Okay, just to clarify, if we pull up the site plan, the variances today are for including the, it's the covered porch at the rear that we're talking about?
Every covered porch, Madam Chair. So it's the front. If we go to the, if we go to the first floor, it might be the best.
Oh, okay. The first floor plan?
Yeah, the first floor plan. That's perfect. That's perfect. If we go to the front first. Okay, so as we see there, that is a covered porch that goes up. Okay, so if we take that area there, which is roughly 16 square meters, and can you just zoom out a little bit, please? And it's important, like I spoke of, that it's actually recessed from the front wall, right? So this covered porch here extends up till we have the flush beam there where it's open to above. So this covered portion was not included in the 33% because it didn't exceed 5% of the lot area. Now, if we go to the rear, of just the first floor, if we just scroll back to the rear. Okay, zoom in, perfect. Zoom out a little bit. Right where it says the proposed covered porch, that's actually existing. That was included again in the initial approval of 33%. When we add the proposed covered porch to the left, okay, which had the revision cloud, this isn't the right plan. But if we can imagine on the left side where we see the dotted red line, the application before you today is just for the expansion of that part of the covered porch. All of the other covered porches are permitted because that area doesn't exceed 5% of the total lot area. So, for example, Madam Chair, if that first floor covered porch at the front were essentially to be omitted, we would essentially not even require a variance for the rear. It would essentially wash it out because it would then take that number down.
Right. But you can understand why the residents are concerned, given that the coverage has gone up. Like,
I do agree.
From
but
what was originally, it looks like the intention, I mean, it's been built, correct?
It has been built, yes.
It's been covered. And so it's changed. I mean, it's not substantial, but it has changed from what they originally saw.
Absolutely, Madam Chair. And listen, any change is going to create some type of impact, right? We know anything will create impact. It's really when it gets to that portion of it being adverse to them. In this instance, there's no extension beyond any of the walls, okay? And the actual portions adjacent to it are existing and permitted, right? So again, there's no extension from the building itself.
And this covered porch, is that at grade?
Yes, Madam Chair. That's part of what I was saying, where it was an existing concrete deck below or patio. And from what I understand, they weren't aware of the 5% rule for the coverage for expanding the covered roof. It was at the inspection phase that it came up because they haven't actually changed the 33% number of the dwelling.
All right. Okay. Any other questions for the applicant? No? All right. Thank you. We will take it into committee. All right. Comments? Mr. Bartolo?
Yeah, my initial comments, Madam Chair, is numerically, it's a little bit more than what we typically see for the lot coverage, but it's not triggering any other variances like landscape area or any of the other setbacks that we often see, with the exception of 1.8 to 1.49 meters. It's a little bit difficult for me right this second, because like I said, it's a lot from a percentage point of view, but there are some technicalities involved in the kind of accumulation of smaller roof areas that are leading to more coverage as well. And then the fact that it's already permitted and built without the roof, and it is regardless of the status of whether it's built or not, without the roof on top, you in some essences get the same structure and you get the same coverage, regardless of whether that roof is on it or not on it, right? So the real question for me is then it's more just a visual impact at this point than it is anything else, right? And how minor or how big of a deal is that visual impact?
I agree. And I think, I mean, it is somewhat contained within the building envelope. But yeah, I think it's putting the cover on top of it. And it seems a bit of misinformation at the beginning. Was it always their intent to cover it? They just didn't put it in. I don't know. It's a bit, but the fact that it's at grade, if it was above grade, I'd be more concerned. But the fact that it's at grade doesn't bother me quite as much. I would put the condition that no access from the second floor be permitted, and also that it remain unenclosed, because if they were to enclose this, I think it would have a much bigger impact on the neighbors, because it would be effectively extending the house. Does anyone else have any other comments? Ms. Sankar?
Yeah, Madam Chair. I mean, I feel that this application has come through sort of once before, and I think there was good intent to try to work with the neighbors and do, a good review of this. And I do believe, I hear what the neighbors, I take to heart what they're saying coming forward, and I want to honor that. But also at the same time, I believe that there's technicalities that we do have to consider. And from that lens and that perspective, I also know that, for personally don't get into the design and how something would look. So it's really straight on like what the variants tell us and the story that's been, explained by the agent, which I feel like I'm willing to accept. So that's just my 2 cents.
All right. I would agree with you on your comments, Ms. Sankar. I think it's a bit of a technicality in whether a porch is covered or not, whether it's included in coverage. It's not making the house any bigger than it is right now, as long as everything remains unenclosed. And I would consider tying it to site plan approval as well, to ensure that it's not going anywhere else. The additional coverage that would be. All right.
Would you like me to make a motion?
Sure, if you don't
I can
mind.
do that. Okay, so based on what I've already discussed in committee, and hearing, to heart what, the neighbors have had to say, et cetera, but knowing that this is the second iteration of this, I'm going to put forward a motion to approve this application, as I do accept the explanations by the agent here today. And I also will, I'm just double checking that I will tie it to site plan. And I'm wondering, am I allowed if Deputy Secretary Treasurer would be able to say if that's okay, that I can put in that there's to be no access from the second floor and that that area remains unenclosed.
Yeah, you can add that as a condition if
Right.
that's what you want.
So-
So it's to remain unenclosed.
Yes,
And-
and no access from the second floor, tying it to site plan. If that makes sense to everyone.
Yeah, I would add, does that add the word substantially?
Yes,
Substantially in accordance with the site plan. Yeah.
right, substantially in accordance with the site plan. And that's my motion, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Ms. Klein? All in favor? That is carried.
Thank you, committee. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, item 15. 2989 Bathurst Street. This is an application to facilitate a 9-story building with 27 units, an office and a retail unit. The variances are for number of stories, height, lot coverage, parking space location from a residential lot line, location of residential and non-residential uses, platform projection from the front main wall, rear side yard setback of rear yard setback of height and projection into rear yard. On file, we have minutes from June 12th, 2025, survey, plans, conceptual illustrations, site photos, cover letter, planning rationale letter, community planning report, a petition of opposition, and 8 letters of opposition. We have our applicant here. Hi, welcome.
Thank you. Good to be back. So,
Yes.
I was here in June with a zoning bylaw that was under appeal. Your decision was asking me to return when the zoning is in effect.
Right. And
So,
can we start with your name and address,
sorry,
please?
Nama Blonder, 579 Richmond Street West.
Thank you.
Here I am today, happy to be back. Hopefully you remember this case from June. The zoning, which permits 8 stories and FSI 5 as of right on this avenue, is now in effect. Okay, here I am, I'm back. The proposal before you designed to fit within the building envelope. In fact, may I ask, there's a PDF called Architectural Illustrations. If you can show it, because it shows the approved zoning and how we are fitting within that building envelope. And I think it's a very powerful illustration. If you don't mind finding it, please. And it's really important because some of the letters in opposition spoke to increased height. It's not the case. We are building within the building envelope that is allowed. And we're just here to ask to optimize the building. And all of my variances are between 25 centimeters and 75 centimeters. Okay, that's why we're here today. So let me walk you through the variances. So first of all, we have the variance for number of stories and height. This is, as I said, crucial to understand. If you want to scroll one illustration down, it will show you the approved zoning and our building. Yeah, the one you can zoom in on that. The pink envelope is the approved zoning, and you can see how we are fitting within that, and we're not actually adding any height or anything like that. We are putting the amenity space, and that's why it trigger a variance of height. We have 2 variances for parking. Again, it's just to optimize the building. It's 0.25 instead of 0.5. So it's a 25 centimeter difference that we're asking for in the setback. And the second one that speaks to parking is, it's called the minimum setback for a parking space on a corner lot. We're not changing the building envelope. We're just putting the surface parking there for efficiency. So these are the variances for parking. There's a variance for front platform projections, which is, I have to say it's kind of a fake variance because all of our balconies are recessed. We do not project into the street, but because we have recessed balconies, the zoning read it as there's a projection, but there's not. We are not projecting into the street. What else we have? We have the height of the portion of the building, 7.5 and 10 meters of the rear lot line. Because we have an office floor, it requires a slightly higher ceiling height. So it just carries, but again, we're talking about 80 centimeters, 75 centimeters in variance. And we have another variance, which is position of uses. So this is again another fake variance because we have the office on the second floor, we have residential lobby on the ground floor. So it looks like it's a position of uses, but again, it's actually not. So the application aligns with the OP, the new zoning, and it is minor in nature, and of course, appropriate to the site. I would like to conclude, I watched our hearing from June, and I pulled some quotes from the committee members. So we had committee member, Mr. Marziari, who's not here today. He said, it's a great application, it's the right location for this type of application. I like the design, everything is great. Committee member, Mr. Bartolo stated it's the right type of building in the right type of location when we consider the direction the city is going and the location of this, it's appropriate and supportable. And you, Madam Chair, noted that there is merit in the application because it is the direction of the city to increase density on major streets. Please return when the zoning is in effect. So here I am today. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions of the applicant? No? All right, I think we'll proceed with the residents and then we'll come back to you. Thank you. All right, in the audience today, we have some people. All right, sir, please come forward. Start with your name and address, please.
Hello, committee. My name's Dr. Ali Ipchalar. My address is 2991 Bathurst Street, the building just north of them. So I have a few things I want to discuss. I made some notes, so I'm going to read off my notes. So my name, I said that. I am not here to oppose reasonable growth. But this application is not minor. It is a fundamental departure from the very nature and rules of the city just wrote. This proposal seeks to triple the permitted height and nearly triple the lot coverage. It isn't a small adjustment. It is massive overdevelopment and overwhelms the neighbors. Lack of engagement. I found that the developer or even the lady that just spoke never approached us, never came to us and talked to us about what their plans are. So I come from I was here last time too. I come from my family develops properties in Toronto, or like my dad does. He used to build custom homes. He built about, I believe, 18 custom homes in the Toronto area. So every time he went to the committee beforehand, he went to all the neighbors around his house and he talked to them. We never had anybody approach us, and nobody even came to us and say what their plans were. I understand they're saying it's according to bylaws now, but there's something about going by law, but something that's going to completely change the neighborhood. Like there's synagogues next to us, there's schools, and bringing 27 residential units with only 3 or 4 parking spots in the whole building, there's going to be overwhelming number of cars. It's assuming that people that come live here will not drive cars anymore. So, so the planning rationale claims the project complements the neighborhood, but the developer has never actually spoken to the neighborhood. We have made numerous good faith efforts to reach out to the property owner to discuss their concern as immediate neighbors. They have refused to hear us or address any of the issues. In a proper planning process, the applicant should have approached us first. I repeat this again. Instead, they have moved forward in a vacuum, ignoring the people who actually live and work here. The 2 support letters, in June, they had 2 support letters. This time they don't. The 2 support letters on file are from individuals who live nowhere near the site. Meanwhile, the actual community is united. We have signs across the neighborhood saying, say no to overdevelopment. Even our local representative, Councillor Mike Cole, stands with us in opposition. So Mike Cole actually wrote the letter. I'm not sure if you have it on file, but he opposes this development, recognizes that this project is simply too much density for this specific constrained area. And you got to imagine, this lot is not a massive lot. So I believe it's 45 foot by 110. the same side as my property next door. So it's very small, and they want to develop such a gigantic building next to it. Like I understand next across the street there's a big development, but their lot is huge. They have park, there's green space. They won't have any green space, and they're going to take green space away to create this. So the specific impacts for my clinic, the impacts are existential. We provide health and wellness treatments, therapy to elderly patients and those with limited mobility who rely on our few parking spaces. This project adds 27 units with almost zero parking, which will flood our streets and block my patients from accessing care. Furthermore, reducing the parking setback by 2/3 puts vehicle exhaust and noise just 2 meters from my treatment rooms, shattering the quiet environment my patients need to heal. Finally, the application fails the 4th test of the Planning Act. It is not minor, it is not desirable for the neighborhood, and it ignores the transition protections built into the law to protect residents. On behalf of my practice, my patients, and this united neighborhood, I urge you to refuse this application. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? All right, let's have the next, anyone else in the audience on this item? No? So I guess we'll move to our online people. Hello?
Hello? Can you hear me?
You're a little loud, actually.
Oh,
Usually
okay.
we can't hear you, but
I will whisper. All right. Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Ayala Marmer, and I live at 120 Frontenac Avenue, the immediately adjacent residential property to this proposal. I want to begin by stating clearly that the community has come out strongly against this application. More than 80 residents signed a petition opposing this development, in addition to numerous individual letters of objection submitted to the committee. Further, City Councilor Mike Cole personally sent a letter to request the committee to refuse this application, citing the same concerns raised by the neighbors. Overall, this proposal is grossly inappropriate for its context. It seeks significant relief related to height, massing, parking setbacks, and privacy in what is a low residential neighborhood. The applicant referenced a 16-story building as an example of large-scale development in the area. However, that building is on the west side of Bathurst, occupies nearly a full city block, and does not encroach on adjacent residential homes. It is not comparable to this constrained site that directly abuts low-rise houses on the east side of Bathurst. This application was originally submitted in the summer of 2025 and faced substantial community opposition at that time as well. The committee chose to delay the matter in part due to uncertainty around Bylaw 1260. Importantly, before that summer hearing and in the many months since, the owner has refused to engage with the neighborhood. Despite the lack of engagement, the applicant now claims there are no adverse impacts. That claim is made without ever asking or consulting the people who live next door. What is being proposed is a large, out-of-character building on a constrained site, not near a subway station, with a total of 4 parking spots at an already very busy intersection. The result will be increased congestion combined with significant and irreversible impacts on my family and my home. I want to briefly explain how the key variances affect us personally. First, height and stories. Bylaw 1260-2024 permits 8 stories and 27 meters. The applicant seeks 9 stories and over 30 meters, more than 12% above the newly adopted limit. For my family, this additional height means the building will tower over our home, increasing shadowing, reducing sky view, and creating a sense of constant visual dominance from our living spaces and yard. The mid-rise building design guidelines exist specifically to prevent this kind of overwhelming impact on adjacent low-rise homes. Second, lot coverage. The bylaw permits 33% lot coverage. The proposal seeks 85%. This removes the open space that normally provides separation and relief between a mid-rise building and a home like mine. For us, that means no buffer, no visual break, and a solid mass directly beside our property. The guidelines rely on open area to soften transitions, and without it, the impact on our sense of openness and privacy is severe. Third, parking setback from residential. The required setback is 7.5 meters. The applicant proposes 2.5 meters in an open parking structure. This brings vehicle activity extremely close to our home. For my family, that means headlights shining into our yard, engine noise, door slamming, and exhaust fumes throughout the day and evening. These setbacks exist specifically to protect residents from these impacts, and reducing them by more than 2/3 defeats the protection entirely. Fourth, rear transition, angular plane, and terraces. The proposal seeks relief to exceed rear height limits, penetrate the 45 degree angular plane and introduce east-facing terraces. While the applicant says there are no rear windows, the mid-rise guidelines are clear. Balconies and terraces are treated the same as windows when it comes to overlook. These terraces create direct ongoing loss of privacy into our yard and living spaces, including bedroom windows. This is not a temporary inconvenience. It is a permanent condition. Once that privacy is gone, it cannot be mitigated or restored. The angular plane and rear transition rules exist precisely to protect families like mine from this kind of overlook and loss of sunlight. Granting relief here removes one of the most important neighborhood protections. Taken together, the proposal creates excessive height, massing, shadowing, noise, activity, and overlook immediately beside a low-rise family home. The Planning Act requires that variances be minor, including when their combined impact is considered. From the lived experience of my family, these impacts are clearly not minor. On January 14th, 2026, the Scarborough Committee of Adjustment rejected a proposal for a 6-story apartment building at 397 Pharmacy Avenue, citing the lack of developer engagement with the surrounding neighborhood, as well as the out-of-place scale and density in a low-rise residential area. The same issues are present here. The community and city councillor, Mike Cole, have clearly voiced their opposition, and with no effort by the applicant to address these concerns, we now rely on this committee to uphold the intent of the bylaw and protect the neighborhood. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. All right. Any comments? Nope. Next.
(110) Frontenac and also own the property at 108 Frontenac. I agree with everything that Mrs. Ayala Marmer has stated. The other thing I wanted to point out is that Naama Blonder says.
Sorry to interrupt, but I think we missed your name and address at the beginning. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. It's Haley Salkin Reamer. I
Thank you.
own the property. I live and own the property at 110 Frontenac as well as 108 Frontenac.
All right. Sorry. Go ahead.
All right. Should I start from the beginning or should I?
No, you can continue.
Okay. And Blonder mentioned that some of these are fake variances. If they are fake variances, then she should be able to create a building without them. Obviously, they are necessary. They would not be in place and necessary if they weren't. I feel that the builder has not engaged with anybody on our in our community, and we have all worked together to try and engage with them and been met with no response. It is a very busy neighborhood with children, adults, buses, places of worship, many cars already, and children walking back and forth. The property itself, when you see that there is an 88% variance for lot coverage, just shows that this is an inappropriate location to create such a large building. And if you look at the opposition letter, Mike Cole, you can see that there is an unprecedented number of applications coming in for density increase, and they should be done on properties that have adequate space and green space to be able to accommodate. And I don't think that this is the location to be able to do that.
All right. Thank you. Any questions? Nope. Next person, please.
Madam Chair, the residents of 113 Frontenac have been unmuted.
All right. The Plunkas. Can you hear us? Hello? Are they still unmuted? Oh dear. Okay, if you're listening, it appears you muted yourselves. Riva and Meyer? Maybe we'll just move on to the next one and come back to them.
.101 Frontenac, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you. Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hi there, my name is Yanina Uni and I live at 101 Frontenac. And I'm speaking on behalf of my husband, Eliyahu Uni, and myself. I don't live right up close to the building that is being proposed like some of the other speakers did. I'm a little bit further down the block. So while I don't have the same impact as they do, my mother-in-law, Riva Uni, does live at 118 Frontenac, right next to the Marmers. So we are somewhat concerned about her because she has limited mobility. She uses a walker. We don't want her to end up being a shut-in. As it is, especially with the snow, it's very hard for her to get out and get around. And we're concerned that the increased density brought on by this number of additional units will really negatively impact her quality of life. Additionally to that, I wanted to just mention that our block in general is kind of, as I wrote in my letter, is a bit of a small, narrow block, and it's already been highly impacted by the building of the huge school at the other end of the block. We lived here before that school was added to our block, and the traffic was extremely different in those days. We had kids could play on the street then. Now we have a constant stream of cars down our very narrow block with no sidewalks. And I'm just concerned that this block has already been impacted by development, and that an additional development on the other end of this small block will just be a negative quality of life impact to the current residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? No? All right. Next.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
Hello, my name is Riva Uni. I live at 118 Frontenac, which is the second house from Bathurst, east of Bathurst. As it is right now, walking down the street is perilous. There are no sidewalks. There are cars. Even in the spring and the summer and the fall, when we don't have an issue with the snow, it still is not a comfortable feeling walking down. I use a walker, and I spend my time while I'm walking really afraid. Looking back, even though I'm walking facing traffic, we've had people drive down this block at very high speeds, and it's scary, okay? In addition, I happened to be outside yesterday and I saw a number of places on main streets where there were signs up saying no parking due to snow removal, which means that those possible spots are not available because of the snow problem. And having 37 apartments, I mean, unless you have some way of enforcing a clause that the owners may never own a vehicle, is going to just make the parking situation absolutely ridiculous. even if 50% of the people who live in the apartment are not using their own cars, that's still an awful lot to add to this block. In addition, there is a law that from, I believe it's November 15th on, you may not park overnight. So I don't know where they're going to stack these cars up. It's going to make it difficult to get into our own driveways. I imagine driveways will be blocked. I'm absolutely not looking forward to this kind of a situation. In addition, we're dealing with a situation where, and I just want to point it out, claiming that there are no windows at the rear of the building when the city has decided that balconies, windows of balconies, patios, etc., are considered the same as just windows, and those are on their plans. And as a matter of fact, I remember at the first meeting, that was not clear. And when I saw the picture today, I was just like, what? So I respectfully ask you to take into consideration the reality of the people living in this community, the children that come through this block, the elderly that come through this block, and ask these people to please find themselves another lot which will be more appropriate. Thank you very much, and I appreciate your work on all of this.
Thank you. Any questions? All right. Do we have anybody else? We have to go back to, were we able to get 113 back? I think we have someone at 99 as well. Okay. We're going to try the Plonkas again. Oh, okay. All right, well, maybe they've heard their concerns echoed in other residents. Sorry, there's someone else?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
So 101 Frontenac already spoke, but I believe the other member of that household would like to speak. Same can be said for 120 Frontenac. So.
Okay, but we've already heard from those addresses, so thank you. Yes, so we can only take one comment per household. So we've already heard from 101 and we've heard from 120. Who we have not heard from is 113, but they don't appear to be online currently. So I think we will move back to the applicant at this point to address some of the comments that have been made by the residents.
Thank you. It's a little bit frustrating because obviously they're referring to the old zoning with the triple the height, and the parking ratio is not a variance. Rear windows and bulk, it's not a variance. We can only discuss the variances. There's a new zoning. I just don't know what to say because a lot of the things they brought up are referring to the old zoning. If you want to speak to engagement, this is the second time we're here. We did do all the outreach in the first time. Wasn't the most pleasant experience. We did it. We talked to Mr. Marmer that you heard his wife now. And I understood it, and even for this submission today, my client reached out in good faith to Mr. Marmer and to the neighbor to the north, and was no one on the other side was willing to talk. So it's, speaks to that. I'm happy to answer concrete questions that came up, a lot of it was not relevant to the variances in front of you today.
Okay, I have a couple of questions.
Yes.
One was, are you required to build a sidewalk for the portion of your property?
Correct. There is a
Bathurst Street?
sidewalk widening.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that will be constructed.
Correct.
So that will somewhat improve the corner at least.
Correct. There will be landscaping.
But there is no, I don't think there's sidewalks on Frontenac. So I think those are the concerns that.
This
people have.
follows the City of Toronto design guidelines, and there will be sidewalk widening.
Right. But yeah, there isn't one on Frontenac. So I understand the residents' concerns about safety, like walking safety.
What you see here in this illustration is true to our submission and plans.
Right. And do we know whether there is permit parking on Frontenac? Yeah, okay.
I don't know, but the parking ratio is not a variance.
I know. I'm just checking. The one other question I had was regarding the coverage. The new zoning bylaw didn't address that?
Correct. So the new zoning that is in effect does not have a lot coverage maximum. The reason we have a variance for it is that it was a very long, a very old zoning bylaw that had a lot coverage, that we put it as a variance to make sure that we're not going to need to come back here. But the new one from 2024 does not have a lot coverage limitation.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have questions? No? All right. I think we can take it into committee. Thanks. All right. Who wants to start off the conversation? Mr. Bartolo?
Sure thing, Madam Chair. So now I understand the concerns of the neighbors and the nature of the building that's being proposed versus what's currently existing in their neighborhood. That being said, what is being proposed is largely in line with the policy for the area. The height is, the building would effectively be just as tall without the height variance because of mechanical penthouse that exists on top. They're actually just kind of using that space to provide some amenity space on the top there and a bit of a walkout condition. So I think the issues of height is a non-issue for me. And then most of these other variances relate to the functionality of the site and just making it work within the lot with some minor items. Parking is not an issue any longer. There is no parking required on this site or any other site really. So when we take all of these things into consideration and the in effect zoning that's come into place, as well as the positive staff report, I think this is a supportable application and brings some density to a major arterial in the city. I'll leave it at that for now.
All right, thank you. And I will just echo your comments. And I know we had said initially when this application came forward the first time, we thought it was a good application, but it was premature because the zoning to facilitate it was not in place. But now that it is, this is the direction that city council has decided to move in terms of allowing more intense development on major roads like Bathurst Street. And so I think that this application does meet the, the intent of the new policy and zoning. And therefore, I think that what is being requested in terms of the variances are relatively minor. The coverage doesn't look like it, but based on the explanation from the applicant, I can accept that. And I know it's hard for the residents to accept this development in close proximity to them, but it's happening on a lot of the major streets in the city. So this is change that will provide housing, much needed housing for the city and in this area for sure. So for those reasons, I think I can support it. And I think that it meets the intent of the OP and the zoning. And although it's a big change for the neighborhood, I believe that it's appropriate. Any other comments? Someone like to make a motion? Mr. Bartolo?
Yes, through you, Madam Chair, I'll put forward a motion to approve this application, subject to the condition noted in the staff report. I'll just read it for clarity's sake. That the approval of variance number 1 and 2 related to the building's height and number of stories be subject to the condition that a maximum of 54.02 square meters of indoor amenity space be provided on the 9th story.
I think it says minimum.
Yes, minimum. Sorry, did I say maximum?
Yes.
Correct.
Just clarifying. All right. Seconder, Ms. Sankar. Thank you very much. All in favor? That is approved. All right. Time is it? 3:26. Does anybody need a quick break? We okay? Sure, one more. Item 16, 251 Dawlish Avenue. Just pull it up.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, good afternoon.
Hold on one sec. We're not quite ready for you.
Sure.
Okay, this is an application for a new 3-story detached dwelling with a cabana in the rear yard. The variances are for building height, length, depth, west side yard setback, east side yard setback, number of stories, and lot coverage. On file, we have a survey, cover letter, plans, photos, urban forestry memo, and a community planning report. All right, now we'll hear from our applicant, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Shahrzad Ashrafi Hedalu at 145 Row Avenue, Toronto, M5M2H8. I'm the owner and the agent of the property.
All right, thank you. Do we want a presentation? There's nobody here. Nobody here in the audience on this item? No. No, I don't think we need a presentation on this. I just might have had some comments, so just. We do have a community planning report. Maybe we pull that up. And community planning doesn't seem to have a concern with it. They're just asking that variance 2 and 3 be developed substantially, which are building length and depth be developed substantially in accordance with the site plan. All right. I think we can just take this into committee. Mr. Bartolo?
Yes, through you, Madam Chair. I'm in agreement with the staff report. Don't see any major issues with this application. I think it meets the 4 tests. Therefore, I'll put forward a motion to approve this application, subject to variance number 1 and 2 regarding building length and depths be developed substantially in accordance with the site plan drawings attached.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, what about
Yes.
forestry? A
Oh,
friendly
yes.
amendment about forestry,
Sorry.
condition number 2.
Yes,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you for the
Accept
reminder.
your friendly amendment and add and make it subject to the conditions of the urban forestry memo attached.
All right.
I second that.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. All in favor? That is approved. All right. Now, would you like a quick break? Yeah, okay. Let's take a quick break. We are back and we are on item 17, 22 Blue Forest Drive. This is an application to construct a new two-story garden suite and a new rear yard deck on an existing two-story detached dwelling. The variances are for separation of a garden suite from the main dwelling. On file, we have a survey. Oh, geez, thank you. This isn't working. All right, sorry. On file, we have a survey, plans, photos, arborist report, a community planning report, and 2 letters of support. Could we have our applicant?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. My name is Nicole Parr. I reside at 22 Blue Forest Drive.
Thank you. And just before we start, do you have any changes to make to the application?
I don't have any changes, Madam Chair, through you. I had provided some updated plans around January 9th to comply with city staff requests to increase the separation from the main dwelling from our original 5 meters to 6, which we were very happy to comply with. And we've actually provided drawings to that effect. And I completely agree and support the staff recommendation to tie our decision to the site plan showing the 6-meter separation distance.
All right, so just to clarify, from the public meeting notice, you're proposing to modify variance 1 and 2?
Through you, Madam Chair, I will require both variances still, but it will be instead of 5 meters separation from the main building to the garden suite, it will be an increase to 6 meters as per the staff recommendation and report.
Yeah, is that variance 1 and 2?
Through you, Madam Chair, in both variances mentioned the separation distance.
And the height remains the same? The
height remains the same of the building. The only is just the separation from the main building. We increased by 1 meter.
All right. Does that make sense, staff? Are we? All right, so variance 1, the proposed ancillary building containing a garden suite was 5 meters. She's increasing that to 6.
Correct.
And then a variance number 2, the proposed height remain. So you're not changing variance 2, or are you? Yeah, I don't think you are.
I'm not changing. I still require both variances. It's just the distance from the main building to the ancillary building has been increased by 1 meter.
Right, but you're not changing variance 2 regarding height. You're still looking for.
That's for you, Madam Chair. That's correct. I still require that variance.
Okay. Are we good, staff? Just 1. Yeah. Oh, the wording is changing, but the height is the same. The variance is the same. It's just the distance.
For you, Madam Chair, that's correct. Yes, it's the variances are the same. There's no real, but for city staff, they felt more comfortable increasing the distance for privacy and landscaping and all kinds of their reasons.
Such a simple application, but complicated wording. All right.
It's my dream home, so I'm hoping to have positive results from here for you guys today.
All right.
Madam Chair, so she realizes the wording in number 2 will have to change too as well.
Yes.
Okay.
She does. What's that? All right. All right. I don't think we need a presentation on this. I think we're good to take this into committee. All right. Does someone want to? Mr. Bartolo?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, through you. So very straightforward application. I'm in agreement with the staff report. I will put forward a motion to approve this application, subject to the modification noted in the staff report that modifies variance number 1 and 2 relating to the separation between the garden suite and the residential building be modified from 5 meters to 6 meters.
All right. Thank you. Seconder. Ms. Sankar, thank you very much. All in favor? That is carried.
Unanimous.
All right, the
Thank you very
application's
much. I'll
been
see you
approved.
later for another application. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
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 All right, number 18 is 824 Shepherd Avenue West. And 177 COCKSFIELD and 179 to 181 COCKSFIELD Avenue. So this is an application to alter a 12-story mixed-use building, including reducing the residential and visitor parking spaces, bicycle parking spaces, indoor amenity space, and first floor height. The variances are for energized outlets in parking outlets, number of parking spaces, number of visitor parking spaces, bicycle parking spaces per unit, height of first story, and indoor amenity space amount. And we have our applicant in front of us. Welcome.
Good afternoon. My name is Haley McWilliam. I'm an associate at BUXTON Inc., and my address is 3 Church Street.
Thank you. We don't have anyone here on this. Does anybody want a presentation or explanation of anything? No? Does anyone have any questions? I don't think. Oh, yes. First of all, any changes?
Yes, I do have a change. I would like to remove all variances except for variance number 5, please.
Wow. Yeah. So everything but 5.
Yes, that's correct. Just the decrease in the ground floor, floor to ceiling height.
All right. We don't need a presentation on that for sure. All right, let's take it into committee. I know. I'm just shocked. I'm sitting here shocked. All right. Ms. Sankar, I think you have your hand up.
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair. You know, I was willing to go the way because I didn't see any concerns from like sort of any of the other divisions for or staffing, planning, transportation, or otherwise. But this is what I would consider a quintessential minor application. And so with that, I do believe it meets the 4 tests. I'll put forward a motion to approve this application as is. I mean, with the amendments made by the applicant here today.
All right, thank you. And seconder? Mr. Bartolo. All in favor? That is carried. The application as amended has been approved. Thank you. All right. Item 19 is 76 Burndale Avenue. And this is an application to construct a multiplex dwelling. I believe it's a garden suite as well. It's just not mentioned in the intro. The variances are for number of platforms on the front of the building and parking space location. On file, we have a survey, plans, tree protection plan, supporting material, arborist report, 1 letter of concern from 79 Burndale, 2 letters of objection from 81 Burnett Avenue, and a petition from a number of residents in the area, and we have a late community planning report. We have our applicant. I assume he's online.
Good afternoon. It's Glenn Rubinoff, 2 St. Clair Avenue West, Toronto, Ontario.
Thank you. Mr. Rubinoff, we have a number of people. Do we have people in the audience here on this item? All right, 1 person. Okay, thank you. We do have people in the audience and online. So if you could give us a brief presentation of the application, please.
Sure. Thank you very much. So this is an application for the first and second variants are related to a balcony. In the units, these are, as a multiplex, buildings are permitted to have 1 balcony per surface. So 1 in the back, 1 in the front. We're requesting a second one. The original application that came before and got permits for as a third floor balcony that was the balcony that was permitted. It was put in for fire safety as required for a third floor. And those ones were existing. What we're here for today is for the second floor balcony. If you've read the staff report, you'll see that they recognize that the units are actually back to back. So the back of the building is they're 2-story units, and the front is a 2-story unit. So from that perspective, it's the same unit. The third floor balcony is for a bedroom, and the one on the second floor is just for the living room area. They're not big balconies. They're just really landings effectively. And city planning has written on it that they just noted that we had spoken with them about the concerns related to overlook. So we've agreed to implement privacy screening measures as a way to preserve concern. But just to keep in mind that we'll add it on the third floor as well as the second floor. But today's really about adding the new balcony on the second floor. That's what we're requesting. But we're happy to provide privacy. I mean, it works for everybody, both the people in the house, in the building, and the neighbors. The other variance number 3, is related to having a front yard parking pad. And again, staff didn't comment on this because they didn't have any concerns related. There are, we've noted a number of pads existing on the street. If you look at the map we provided, it shows that there's, I believe you might have it. It's number 69, number 85, and number 93. Burndale have front yard pads as well. So pretty adjacent properties, as well as on other streets in the area. It's the concerns that I read were mostly to do with hard surface, and we're prepared to provide that permeable pavers for that parking pad. So those are the items. I'll end it there. I don't want to drag it. There's more people who want to speak, so that's all I wanted to say.
Okay, I have one question to start. Just to clarify, there are 2 proposed balconies for Unit 2. Is that right? One on the
Yes, they're both in the front for Unit 2. And
right.
Unit 4, it's in the back. So there's.
And was there a particular reason for that? Like why they need a balcony? I see there's one off the
required. There's one required on the third floor just by building code for the height.
Oh, okay.
The second floor is just simply to have a living room, be able to just go outside and get a breath of fresh air. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I think that's all my questions. Any questions for the applicant? No? All right. Let's we're going to start with the neighbor in the audience, but before I begin, I just want to say that multiplexes and garden suites are permitted by the city on most lots, pretty much every lot. And so we are not debating the merits of whether a multiplex should be here. It is simply a question of the variances required to facilitate the building. And further, the decision to permit multiplexes and garden suites was made by City Council, not by the Committee of Adjustments. So if you have concerns with the permission for them, it's something to take up with Council. Now we can begin. Sir, if you'd like to come forward.
Zukowski. I live right behind 76 Burndale. I'm abutting to that property, and my neighbor is also abutting that next to me. I forget his address, but we're all aghast and how this constructed property is being constructed, and without due consideration on how it affects the neighborhood. There's 2 serious issues here. One is the fire access to this building. Regarding where the hydrant is, that's been in discussion with the city and still not settled. And the second one is the garden suite is at least, according to the plan, 2 feet longer than it's supposed to be. So the setback is not within the plan, okay? So further going into the variances here regarding the balconies, we have privacy concerns regarding the direct line of sight to the neighboring properties. A privacy screen has been mentioned today. I've never heard of this before, but that doesn't mean these people will be complying with that. And so we have concern for both balconies, second balconies on the south side as well as on the north side, okay? Because of these balconies and the adjacent parking spot, there's a diminished landscaping space, which will be in the front of the house, will be less than 50% of the front yard, according to the bylaws here. In addition, these balconies will allow for additional noise disturbances in balcony clatter. The clatter will be, I've seen going around the neighborhood. On these balconies, people store bicycles, barbecues, children's toys, and other clutter. That will be totally, will remove the overall ambience of the property of the surrounding neighborhood, okay? On the south side, we are facing the same thing with the noise disturbances. The extra balconies will face directly to the garden suite and including our properties there, okay? Regarding the parking spot, there's a safety issue there. This parking spot is supposed to be there. There will be at least 5 rental units that I can see. There's the basement, there's a 1 unit, unit 1, unit 2, unit 4, and the garden suite. So you will need at least 4 or 5 cars to be parked, one behind the other, because you don't have enough room there to park them all side by side. So where the safety issue is, should one of the units have an emergency due to a fire, personal accident, sickness within the home, they won't be able to leave. The people, they will have to move, if they're parked one behind the other, the people in front won't be able to leave. And to move themselves from the property or to alert people or get away from the serious effect of a fire, for example, okay? The parking space doesn't have enough room there to park the cars side by side. They have to be parked one behind the other. And now that removes from the ambience of the property. Now, it was mentioned here that there's parking paths on 69, 85, 93. I live there around that neighborhood, and none of these parking spots are fully occupied like they are proposed here with 4, 5, 6, 7 cars. You know, this is not a parking lot. There might be 1 or 2 cars maximum, and that would be justifiable. But at 76 Burndale, we're looking at least 4 or 5 cars there, okay? Right. Again, the parking spot will remove at the adjacent space for landscaping, which will be less than 50% of the front yard. And we are concerned that because the parking lot has to be paved, the street is sloped east-west. So because of paving, there will be an additional excessive runoff to adjacent properties right beside that. And that is not acceptable. And yeah, I think that's about it. For both cases, there's safety issues involved, there's privacy issues involved, there's noise disruption and clutter to the buildings, and that's not acceptable. And we're asking not to approve these variances. And we do not consider these variances as to be minor. If there's, especially the safety issues, they are not minor. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? The applicant or the resident? Right. Let's move on to our virtual people.
Hi, I think it's I think it's me, Jean Ng. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Okay. Can we have your address, please? Jean?
Yes, I live at 70 Burndale Avenue. I'm 2 doors down from the property.
Okay.
Yeah. So I also oppose the variances. The 2 variances for the additional balconies in the front yard and backyard are located off dining and living areas. And because of noise, as Richard has also mentioned, will carry through in this open air setting, as well as privacy, because the balconies will have a direct line of sight into the neighboring homes. So from a noise and privacy perspective, these fourplex units can be used for short-term rentals. They're not very big. And we believe that if that were to be the case, these properties or these units could be treated more like hotels or party places, and it would add extra noise. So adding, an extra balcony could greatly impact the enjoyment of our homes that we've lived in for a very long time. We also think that with the added balconies and how close they are to the street, because the front yard setback's quite short, that it will give it more of an apartment style appearance in bulk and would be out of character of existing homes in this neighborhood. And also the bylaws are very clear that it's 1 balcony per unit per side. And if city planners who have made many allowances to construct fourplexes already wanted to increase that number to 2, if it occupied multiple floors, then they would have done so. But we believe that the allowances already made for multiplexes should not be exceeded. I also want to speak about the variance about the parking pad. The parking pad resides on the front yard, and as you can see with the site plan, a large portion of the soft landscaping will be eliminated if the parking pad was allowed. And this would affect the residential character of the neighborhood, as well as concerns with stormwater runoff and potential impact to the abutting neighbors' city tree as it matures. Cars parked here would also interfere with emergency access to the garden suite from the west side if it became necessary. Because as Richard has said, because there's 5 units here, the chances of cars being parked side by side in that area would be a high probability. Also, the city of Toronto intentionally removed parking requirements for fourplexes and garden suites to encourage other forms of transit and reduce reliance on cars. Approving this variance is counter to that, those changes made by the city, and it would set a bad precedence for future builders. So many families neighboring this property have signed on to oppose these variances, as you can see in the opposition letter. So we ask you to please consider this strongly and urge you to refuse these variances. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for the resident? No? All right. Sorry, you've already had the opportunity to speak. Sorry. All right. Do we have one other person online? They're not present. Okay. All right. Let's get Mr. Rubinoff back to address the comments that have been raised by the residents.
Thank you. So I just wanted to address the points that were brought up by the neighbors. They brought up some privacy concerns, and this is what city planning and us discussed about putting in privacy proper privacy screens to keep that overlook to a minimum. Someone mentioned about diminished landscaping space. We don't have a variance for landscaping variance. We just have simply a variance for front yard parking pad. Noise disturbances, I would imagine if we had a large, deck or patio, the concern would be, something, perhaps many people coming over. This is not that case. This is simply a balcony. Maybe there's room for 2 chairs, but it's primarily a means for the tenants to be able to go and, just get a breath of fresh air, go outside. It's only one space. There's talk about parking 5 cars in front. That's not the intention. The intention is that we use transit, and it's just more for a, to have one spot there is just for, for unloading, for just being able to use that one spot. But it's not intended to park more than 1 car. Public safety, or sorry, fire safety, there was a mention about people being trapped in some way. There's 6-foot side yards on both sides of the building. So there's more than adequate access for fire safety. It was never a concern brought up by the city during the permit process. And these are not short-term rentals. This is proper homes for tenants. So they're units to accommodate long-term tenants. And that's what we have before you. So those are the concerns brought up, but I really feel that we're attempting to, provide something that gives the tenants a little more, having that extra balcony just gives them a little more opportunity for some indoor-outdoor space, and the parking in front for a convenience for 1 spot. Thank you.
All right. Sorry, Mr. Rubinoff, somebody mentioned the garden suite's longer than permitted. Did you address that? Did I miss it?
The garden suite, I'm not sure. There's no variance related to the garden suite today. I'm not sure what the
Okay.
request is about, what the concern is about that. Sorry.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant? No? All right. Should we take this into committee? All right, comments. Oh, sorry, staff, can we have the community planning report up? Just the privacy screen information. Thank you. Along the east and west sides of the proposed rear, second and third story with a minimum height of 1.5 meters. Okay. All right. Comments, motion? Mr. Bartolo?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, through you. I reviewed this application. I think my thoughts are in line with the staff. Most of the comments made here today by the residents don't have anything to do with the variances. The other items of their concern are mostly related to building and engineering and the fire department, who all have their review process before the permits are issued. So I'm going to trust that they've done an adequate job to make sure that those items are addressed. That being said, what the applicant's seeking, I think, is architecturally appealing. I don't think it's going to be a detriment. Therefore, I will put forward a motion to approve this application, subject to the condition noted in the recommendation section that the applicant is to provide permanent opaque screening or fencing along the east and west sides of the proposed rear, second, and third story platforms with a minimum height of 1.5 meters from the platform floors.
All right, do we have a seconder? Ms. Sankar? All in favor? All right, that has been approved. All right, item 20. Yes, sorry, don't have it. Forgot to mark it on my list. 21. 479 Coldstream Avenue.
Well, I am okay. Hello.
Yes, hello. Just a minute, please.
Okay.
Okay, this is an application to permit installation of 2 canopies in the side yards of a newly constructed dwelling. The variances are for canopy encroachment to east and west side yards. On file, we have minutes from a previous meeting in 2020, previous decision notice, survey, revised plans, photos, community planning staff report, and 4 late letters of support. Our applicant is, go ahead.
Richard Idels. I'm the agent for the applicant and also,
Thank you.
also the architect.
All right. And the staff report, okay, they're talking. So these canopies are built. I was a little confused in the although there were photos attached, there was no photos of the canopies. There's the only photos are of the front of the house and the backyard.
Tree protection is where they ask us for.
Was I missing something?
No, I think that the pictures were meant to really just show the tree protection.
Oh, okay.
That was the request. Yeah, it was a request that we they didn't actually ask for pictures of the canopies.
Well, the committee might have liked to see pictures of the canopies. But that's okay. I thought maybe maybe they got left out of the package or something, but usually you would include a picture of something that you're asking a variance for, especially when it's as built.
So we have letters of approval for you know, the neighbors on both sides, and also the condition of this of the application that was made by planning is that it's only for this. In other words, if they want to build an additional canopy on either side, there, you know, you have to go back to, you know, these variances are only for these 2 conditions at this point, at this time.
All right. Yep, that's fine. We don't have anybody here on this item, so I think we'll just take this into committee.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Bartolo?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think it's a pretty straightforward application. It's just 2 flat canopies at the entrances or exits on either side. Stop building more canopies to the applicant, but for the existing ones, I think we're in good order here. And I'm in agreement with the staff report. Therefore, I will put forward a motion to approve this application, subject to the condition that variance number 1 and 2 relating to east and west canopy encroachments only apply to the as-built conditions of the existing canopies.
All right, thank you. And a seconder, Ms. Hankar? All in favor? That is carried. The application has been approved.
Thank you, Madam Chairman and committee. We appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Right, you're welcome. Okay, I think that concludes the afternoon, the 2 o'clock agenda. And then we move on to the 4 o'clock agenda. Are we ready to proceed? It is 4:18. We are well within our time to proceed. Okay, item 22, 14 Ancona Street. This is an application to construct a new 3-story 4-plex dwelling with rear walk-up basement entrance and rear exit stairs to all floors. The variances are for height of main walls. On file, we have a survey, plans, tree photos, urban forestry permit, and a tree protection plan. We have our applicant with us.
Can you hear me, guys?
Yes, we can.
Okay, yes. My name is Anil Kumar, and I am the owner of 14 Ancona Street.
And your address, please?
I live in the Nobleton 82, Diana, but my address is the 14 Ancona Street, North York.
Okay. All right. There is a neighbor who Do we have that neighbor online, just to make sure? Somebody confirm. We don't have an address, but we have a name. I just want to make sure if we're going to do a presentation that we have somebody to present to other than us.
I do not, through you, Madam Chair, I do not see the neighbor currently online, but if you give us a minute, we will double check.
Okay. In the meantime, does anyone have any questions of the applicant? Yeah, I don't think so. Do you want to ask the question?
To the applicant, Mr. Kumar, this main wall height variance that you're seeking here, this is for the entire length of the main wall height around the house. It's not just in select areas, correct?
Yeah, if you have more technical question, my architect is on the line. His name is Braid. If you guys can ask.
Sure. No problem. Because I'm just I'm looking at the elevations here. It says max building height 10 meters.
Yeah, in total, I'm asking. Yeah.
Yeah. But some applications, the main wall height variance is for a portion of the main wall. But when I evaluate the elevations here, it looks like it's pretty much everywhere. Is that fair to say?
That's correct.
Okay. It's not usually worded that way. Yeah. I think he's on a separate line. Yeah. Maybe we should just get the architect to explain why. Can we do that? Apparently.
What is the architect's name?
Sorry.
His name is Braid. He's in the gallery.
Greg?
B-R-E-T-T, Brett.
You're right.
Yeah, he's there.
Be unmuted, Brett.
You've unmuted? All right. Brett, are you there?
Unmute. I'm there.
Okay.
Oh, it said code that I'm muted, so it's okay. This variant is.
It's not, it's for us to ask a question of Brett, the architect. Just could you explain why why you need the main wall height variance?
So this design is the exact same design as the property that backs onto it at 1 Dromore. 1 Dromore was approved without any variances because the city at the time allowed this design and did not consider that there was a variance. But somewhere in between the application for 1 Dromore and maybe 4 months later when we applied for 14 ANCONA, they changed their mind. So that's why we're here for this. But if you look at 1 Dromore, which this client, Anil Kumar, owns, it's the exact same building, the exact same roof design, everything's the same, some minor details for aesthetics, but otherwise it's the exact same. So it wasn't a variance 4 months before, and now it's a variance. That's why we're dealing with it this way.
Because it's a pretty significant variance.
So it was not a variance previously at all, 0.
Is there a plan that shows that measurement? One of your plans? Because the one I'm looking at, I don't see it, but I might be, it's just.
No, 1 Dromore is a separate permit. It's the lot that backs onto this lot. They share a rear lot line. So unfortunately, the owner got caught in between the city's decision to change their opinion on how things were accepted and not accepted. Then I had emails and such that specifically state that.
Okay, we're having a little trouble understanding, hearing you. It's a bit,
Is that any better?
muffled. Not really. I'm not understanding what you said about the rear lot line.
This owner owns the property that backs onto this one.
Oh, I see what you said. Yeah, okay.
One row more, and the exact same building. There was no variance. So he got caught in the fact that the city decided to change their opinion on how they wanted to address this.
So zoning.
Yes.
I take it. So he owns 16?
No, he owns one row more. One row more backs onto 14 Ancona.
Oh, one. Okay. And you're saying he built the same building?
It's in process. It's in construction as we speak.
Okay. Wow.
So again, it's in an email specifically from Catherine Ruggiero from zoning that it's really just a matter of they changed their opinion as what they would accept and what they
So
wouldn't.
their interpretation of main wall height.
Yes. Unfortunately, my client got caught in this.
All right. Clear as mud. Thank you. Okay. And have we managed to locate Mr. Lash? All right. Okay, let's hear from Mr. Lash first.
How are you today?
We're good.
Excellent. So the only thing I was kind of worried about is height, because I wasn't understanding the 7-foot variance or the 3-point-something meter variance. And to put another level on, it's kind of going to be a eyesore for the community.
All right. Sorry, Mr. Lash. First of all, could you just state your name and address for the record?
I apologize. So it's Eric Lash, and I live at 2 Dromore.
Okay. That's the street to the west, I think. It's
Yes.
just not on it. Okay.
Yeah. So the builder, the same builder built 1 Dromore as he's building
Yes.
the Ancona property.
And it's the same design, apparently.
Yeah, to me, I didn't see all the back windows and stuff, so like I haven't. The height of it, it just didn't. I just couldn't understand where the extra 3 meter would go on the back of the property, where it would be an eyesore. And the other thing was parking. Like we're having an issue with parking there because they built a 4-plex. And there's only, I think, 2 spots in the other house to park. And you got like 4 apartments. Like, where are the other 2 apartments going to park? On the street?
Okay. So there is no overall height variance for this property. You understand that? This is for main wall height. And it's a difference of 2.5 meters. So I can let the applicant try to explain that, or maybe the architect to explain it, although he's hard to understand because I don't know why, but we're having trouble understanding him.
Yeah, it doesn't look like the same height as the other property, as number 1 Dromore. It's the same builder.
But I think it's the same plan from what they've said. But he is meeting the overall height limit that's permitted of 10 meters.
It's a really tough area to build in because you have a school right there, and the parking is just terrible.
Mm-hmm.
There is no parking on that street, and there's no parking on Dromore either, and people are parking like crazy. Like every night they're parking.
Right.
Issues.
All right. Well, let's bring the applicant back to address your concerns.
Thank
and
you.
Then we'll move on. Okay. Mr. Kumar?
Yes, I have to say something.
Yeah.
We have applied both plans together, 1 Dromore Crescent and 14 Ancona. These property are connected. Literally, whatever I'm building, just 60 feet away from each other of the property. I submitted the plan on the same time, but we pursue one row more crescent. Once I get it, then I pursue, because there are so many requirements from the tree and my appraisal, what you call measurement of the property. I forget the name. So it took a little longer. So in the meantime, I got done one row more, and then I pursue for the 14 Ancona. This is like not too much time difference, only few months. Once I got it, this one, and another one roamer, once I approved, I got it. Then we went for the 14 Ancona, and they said now the height difference. As we said, exactly same thing. We already just got few months ago, and now suddenly you guys changed the mind. So that's why. Now my concern of my neighbor is the parking. I have 4 parkings on each property. So like 2 inside, 2 outside. Parking with my building is not the issue. And in the worst scenario, I can people can park in the. I have some area because my lot size is a little bigger, so people can park there too. Their facility is there too, because the excess right now I have the different, but I don't know what is going to be exactly now. But even the excess is there in the backyard too for the parking. So.
All right. Thank you.
Parking is not the issue in my scenario. Only the issue is whatever you guys have given me one row more. In the few month or 2 difference, now you are saying the height issue. I believe, and 3 row more, they just got the built new one, exactly same height you given. 1 row more you given the same height. And 14 Ancona, if you do not give the height, then it's like unbelievable. So now is your decision.
Right. Okay. All right. Does anyone have any questions of the applicant? No. Okay. I guess we'll take this into committee. Ms. Ankar?
I mean, listen, I'm just looking at one variance here. I hear what, the neighbors have to say, but I also hear what the agent has to say. I don't know that I really have a major problem with this. I'd like to hear from the rest of you if there's something, because I'm on the line of like approving it as is. So let me know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I'm struggling with the main wall height, but I think it could be a feature on the main wall height that triggered the variance, that maybe it wasn't caught the first time around on the other drawing. I don't really know. That would be zoning's call, but it is only the one variance. The rest is being maintained, so I don't really have a concern, I don't think.
Nor do I. I could support that approval.
Okay.
So are you willing to?
And I can put forward a motion based on what I've already expressed, and I do believe that is minor, and that in the sense that the explanations provided really, sits well with me. I accept it, and I will put forward a motion to approve this application as is.
All right, and a seconder? Ms. Klein? All right, all in favor? That is carried. The application has been approved. Okay, item 23, 213 St. Leonard's Avenue. This is an application for a new 3-story dwelling with a rear deck and balcony. The variances are for rear deck setback to the west lot line, building height, height of side exterior main walls, number of stories, building length, east side yard setback, west side yard setback, and area of a second floor rear balcony. On file, we have a survey, plans, revisions, email, plans revised, tree plan photos, tree inventory, arborist report, urban forestry memo, advisory memo, community planning report, 1 letter of support and 1 letter of concern. Let's have our applicant.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, Madam Chair and committee panel. Good afternoon. My name is Nushin Muzaffari from Hyphen Studio, representing my client, owner of 213 LEONARDS.
Okay, thank you very much. And your address?
My address is 3429 Youngest Street, unit number 5.
Okay. We do have a resident, I believe they're online. Okay, so could you give us a brief presentation, please, of the application?
Sure. Before explaining the requested variances, we have 2 improvements on the file. Variance
Oh, okay,
number
sorry. Go ahead.
Variance number 2, the total height of the building is reduced to 10.9 meter.
Okay.
And variance number 3, the wall height is reduced to 7.57.
7.57, okay.
Okay, if I want to explain the requested variances, the first one is for the rear deck. The height of the deck is in compliance less than 1.2 meter from the ground, and the projection of the deck, the area of the deck, everything is in compliance. Only the side setback to the west side is a variance because the deck is aligned with the building itself. And for variance number 2, we are asking for 10.9 meter of total height, but this is from the established grade to the top of the rear roof. And if you look at the supporting the presentation material that I submitted yesterday, it was a late submission. If you can bring up those drawings, you can see that the front roof is lower than the rear roof, and also there is a big slope at the front of the property. So this height is measured from the established grade, which is the average grade of the front slope, and basically it's almost 80 centimeter inside the ground. If you kindly go to the next page, the front elevation of the property. Yes, as you see, the established grade is even lower than the ground level, and what you can see from the street, for the right side of the building, the total height from the ground to the top of the front roof is 9.8 meter. And on the other side, which is only the garage access, it's 11.4. And the measurement of the variance is from the established grade to the top of the rear roof. Now, if you kindly go to the next page, one of the side elevations, you can see that the rear roof is higher than the front roof, and but the total height is measured to the top of the rear roof, which is not visible from the streetscape. We also had worked closely with the planning department to improve both variances for the total height and wall height, as I mentioned. And for variance number 4, the third story is totally inside the roof cavity, and it's very similar to many even 2-story plus attic space on the 3rd floor, that you have only 2 or 3 small windows at the front on the main elevation. Number 5 is for the length of the building, and if you go back to the first page, you can see that the main building mass is 17.64 meter. There is a dimension at the bottom of the page. The main building is 17.64, and there is a rear extension for 1.36, which is on the main and 2nd floor, not the basement, not the 3rd floor. And the total 19 meter length is measured to the rear of that extension, but the actual building mass is only a couple feet more than allowed. Variance number 6 and 7 are for the side setbacks on both sides. Instead of 6 feet, we are proposing 4 feet on the west side and 5 feet on the east side. And last variance is for the area of the second floor balcony, which is very limited, big enough to have like couple chairs. That's a balcony for the master bedroom. It's not a like a it doesn't have access to a public area of the house or for big gatherings. And that's what we have on the as our requested variances. And as you can see on the file, the staff is supporting the revised application with the improvements of the total height and wall height. And also, my client has talked to both of adjacent neighbors, and they are in support of our application. I would be happy to answer any questions if committee has any.
All right, thank you. Does anyone have any questions for the applicant? No? All right, let's hear from the neighbor.
Have the west view, please, on the screen.
Yes, could we start with your name and
Oh,
address,
sorry, yes.
please?
My name is Peter Dravers, and I'm speaking on behalf of myself and my wife, Christina Caney. We live at 209 St. Leonard's Avenue, immediately west of the subject property at 213 St. Leonard's.
Thank you.
Can I just wait till it comes up? It's the actual floor plan. It's an attachment. It's the last attachment. There we go. It's getting close. Not quite that. Sorry. Oh, there we are. That's pretty close. But there was a west view. We just saw it a second ago from the architect, the west view. But okay, we can start with this one. Is that okay?
So you want the west elevation?
The view, yeah, the west. Oh, yeah, the west elevation. Yes, there we go. Okay, so what we're looking at, and we are objecting actually. So what the architect said isn't exactly true. That black rectangle on the far right is a door, a glass door, and it's the backyard that we're concerned about. So can I start by saying that first we want to welcome our new neighbors and understand they want to build their long-term family home. We actually met with them on our doorstep twice, once in October and unexpectedly in December, and we're continuing to communicate via email. So the architect is right in that standing. Our comments today are not about opposing the redevelopment in principle, but rather about whether the specific variances, numbers 1 and 8, that's the first and the last variance before you, meet the planning tests under Section 45 of the Planning Act. Our primary concern is the cumulative effect of the requested variances 1 and 8 and a precedent in variances for backyards on this side of St. Leonard's Avenue. Specifically, the first and last variance requests. Again, numbers 1 and 8. If I may start with variance number 1, please. So on top of the almost 4-foot high raised from the ground concrete permanent fixture backyard deck, which we were just looking at a second ago. I don't know what happened there. We were looking at it. There we are. Thank you. So the concrete permanent fixture backyard deck would be an 11-foot high concrete covered roof. And the architectural drawings show in variance number 1, a requested variance down from 1.8 meters to just 1.22 meters from that raised backyard deck on our side to the shared property line where there's a fence. And by the way, the fence is 6 foot high. So please note the concrete deck rather, is requested to be a direct extension of the 19-meter requested house length, where the concrete deck would extend the house first from 17.84 meters of the house on our side, then 1.36 meters, that black rectangle glass door for the kitchen door, and then finally, that's facing our backyard, by the way. And finally, there's the 5.1 meter length of the deck from that point to the end. So the total length of this structure is 24.1 meters from front to back. This design is straight back at the 1.22 meter requested variance the entire way, the entire property line. So to summarize this one point, the continuation of the house is in effect a 6.5 meter concrete covered deck on our side, where we can see into their kitchen side door window, that black rectangle, and the variance number 1 request only 1.2 meters from our shared fence down from 1.8. Moving briefly on to variance number 8, where the architectural drawing is asking for a variance on the second story of an extra large balcony area, which would be on top of the concrete covered roof backyard deck. By the way, that's overlooking our outdoor pool area. So the bottom line is that these 2 requested variances, number 1 and 8, will change the neighborhood privacy on St. Leonards Avenue. Sunlight will be blocked in our backyard by this 4-foot high raised, 11-foot high concrete covered backyard deck and extra large second floor balcony. When viewed together, the reduced side yard conditions, increasing building structure length, and directly extended backyard rear projections causes us to believe that this proposal results in a building structure that is longer, more intensive, and closer to lot backyard boundaries than what currently exists in our neighborhood and what is typical on this part of St. Leonards Avenue. Our concern, therefore, is the scale and placement of what's proposed and whether the specific variances requested, numbers 1 and 8, specifically affecting backyard, our neighborhood in St. Leonards Avenue, meet the Planning Act tests, particularly when considered together. So the official plan of consistency places strong emphasis on maintaining the stability of established neighborhoods and ensuring new development is compatible with its context. We respectfully submit that taken together, the requested 2 affirmation variances 1 and 8 do not sufficiently meet those objectives. In conclusion, our view is that the combined backyard impact in our neighborhood on St. Leonards Avenue goes beyond what is reasonably considered minor variances regarding the requested variances 1 and 8 to the zoning the bylaws. And if we could quickly look at the main floor projection, it's just one up or down from what we're looking at. You can see that on the other side of the property, the neighbor on the other side actually has an indentation. We don't. Ours is straight across. So is it possible just to flip to that screen, please? Can the person move the screen, please? To the main floor? To the main floor? Sorry, to the main floor? Yeah, we're missing, no, the main floor. No, the main floor. That's the basement. There we go. Thank you. So you can see on the bottom, you can see an indentation coming off of their house, whereas on our side, which is at the top, it's straight across. It never ends. It just goes straight across. There is no indentation. So variance number 1 is being is affecting us because of that, and variance number 8 is the extra large balcony on top of that.
All right. Any questions of the resident? No? All right. Thank you. Let's have the applicant back to address the concerns.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In response to the concerns of the neighbor, first of all, my client had a discussion on meeting with the neighbor, and in my knowledge, most of the raised concerns was regarding the existing tree on the property line, and none of these items were brought up, but that's totally fine, and I can answer those things here. The height of the rear deck to the lowest point of the ground around the deck is almost 4 feet. And if you consider almost 3.5 feet for the height of the railing around the deck, it's like 7 feet in total. And when the neighbor has a fence at 6 feet height, it means that from his property, he cannot even see the side of the deck or even the top of the railing. And the height of the deck is in compliance, and the deck is aligned with the building itself. And the second floor balcony is limited to the rear extension, that 1.36 meter extension, not for the not on top of the total covered deck. We don't have any variance for the covered deck, and the covered deck is completely as of right. Only the area of the balcony, which is along the master bedroom and has a very limited width, almost 4 feet, to just accommodate two small chairs for the master bedroom, is proposed, and we are absolutely okay to propose like 5 or 6 feet height privacy screen on the west side of the second floor balcony to satisfy the overlooking concerns for the west neighbor. And the other point that I want to mention is about the door that the neighbor mentioned, which is visible on the elevation. That door is more than 7.6 meters away from the property line. That's the door that you can see on the side of the breakfast area, which is on the east side of the proposed plan. And it has 7.6 meters to the property line, and also the neighbor has a setback of 4 or 5 feet to the to its building. So it's quite far, and it doesn't have any privacy or overlooking issue. Those are the items that comes to my mind, and I would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions? No? All right. Thank you. We'll take this into committee. Sorry? Say something? No? Okay. All right. Does anyone want to speak? I would just say I'm not a fan of these covered concrete decks that everybody is putting on every file. I think it really does extend the mass of the house, but that's not the variances we're looking at. We're looking at a side yard variance for the rear deck platform, and then the other variances as discussed. So, and I actually think the second story balcony is not that large. It's somewhat recessed into the building. So I don't think that is an issue for myself, and the other variances I think are fairly minor and pretty common. The reduction in the side yard, slight reduction in the side yard. So anyway, my only concern would be to make sure that the covered deck remains unenclosed, and then do the privacy screen on the on that second floor balcony on the west side. And I'm in agreement with planning's comments.
Yeah, Madam Chair, through you, I think I echo your same thoughts. I think it's a supportable application with a couple tweaks here as recommended by staff. And where did you want to see that privacy screening?
On the second story balcony west, the applicant mentioned it, on the west side of the second story balcony. So a privacy screen of 1.5 meters, I would say, from the floor.
I'm prepared to make a motion then.
All right.
I'll put forward a motion to approve this application subject to the following revisions. Variance number 1, modified to 10.9 meters. Variance number 2 modified to 7.5 meters. That and the following conditions applied: the maximum height be developed substantially in accordance with the northwest and east elevation drawings attached to this report, and that the second story balcony west side have 1.5 meter privacy screening as measured from the floor of the balcony.
All right, do we,
Subject to the urban forestry conditions noted.
okay. All right, thank you. And seconder, Ms. Klein by default. All right. All in favor? That is carried. The application as amended has been approved. Okay, number 24, 21 Walker Road. Application for a 2.5-story detached dwelling. The variances are for front yard setback, side exterior main wall height of a pedestrian entrance above established grade, number of stories, lot coverage, number of platforms on the rear wall, area of a platform, rear platform, west side yard setback, building setback to stable top of bank, and building setback to shoreline hazard limit. On file, we have a survey, plans, arborist report, TRCA report, and a tree plan. Let's have our applicant.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of committee, Jay Barmy, J.S. Barmy Architect. My address is 57 Florence Avenue, North York, M2N 1G1.
Thank you. We don't have anyone here on this item, I don't believe. So, do we want a presentation? Do you have any questions? The only question I had for you is why do you need the sidewall height variance?
The side wall,
Yep. Which variance is that? Find it. Oh, yeah, so variance 2.
it's typical of the neighborhood. The first story is stacked above the garage, and then because of the grading, the way the grading works, we ended up with 8.3 meters side yard. Sorry, I'm trying to find that. Sorry.
I think it's 8.33.
8.33 meters, yes. The heights for the main floor and the second floor, they're all typical of the neighborhood.
All right. TRCA was okay with this one. All right. We're ready. Let's take it into committee. Okay.
Madam Chair, through you, it's a little bit of a unique ravine lot, and I recognize that. In TRCA is satisfied with the stable top of bank conditions, which were my main concern on this. I understand your concerns with the main wall height, but I think it's going to fit in with the neighborhood, and the design will fit in well. Therefore, I will put forward a motion to approve this application.
All right. Seconder, Ms. Klein. All in favor?
Oh.
Did you, sorry, I just, yes? Okay. So that was carried. Application's been approved.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so item 25 was deferred, correct? No. Oh, I had that marked as. Sorry? Oh, we didn't. Oh, we should have considered that at 4 o'clock. Oops. Oh, well, I guess item 25's been waiting. All right. Let's have the applicant. This is an application to construct a new two-story dwelling with an integral garage.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, sorry, I have some technical problem. Good afternoon, Madam Chair and the committee. I actually request a defer for my hearing. The reason is I revised my plan based on the community planning staff report. I reduced the number of variants and reduce some of the height on the front porch and the first floor. But the revised plan need zoning examiner to review again. So that's the reason I'm requesting a defer.
Okay, and can we please have your name and address?
Sure. My name is Deliang Han. Address is number 18 resolution. I'm the owner of the property.
Okay, thank you. And do we have someone here? Are you in the audience? Are you here on this item? Yes? So the applicant has requested a deferral. Please come forward. Do you have any concern with the deferral of the application?
My name is Lulu Chen. I'm the owner of 20 Resolution Crescent. And I'm worried the new build might block the natural light on the east side of my home.
Sorry, can I just stop you? The applicant's requested a deferral, so to not hear the application today, it will come to a later meeting. So all we want to hear right now is whether you have a concern with it being deferred to another meeting.
Another meeting.
Yeah, it would be in the future. We're not sure when yet.
Okay.
He's making changes, sorry. He's making changes to the plan and it needs to go through a review by staff. So there would be a new notice sent out and revised plans.
Oh, okay. And I have a question. And can you Mandarin service? Having a Mandarin service as a listening the method for me to practice fairly and have my voice heard.
I'm not sure I understood that. Did anyone? Oh, Mr. Deputy Secretary Treasurer, do we have that?
Not right now.
Okay.
I can inquire, but not currently.
We don't have it right now.
Right now is
no.
not, yeah. The future.
You'd have to contact staff and arrange that ahead of time, I would think, correct?
Yes, I contact staff and I send email, but it's not.
Oh.
Yes.
All right, well. Sorry? Do you know who you sent it to?
Who? What?
Who?
Lulu Chen.
No, who did you send the email to?
COA.NY.
COA.NY? Okay, they'll check for you.
Okay.
But if you, for the next time, I guess, is that where she should
Yes,
send the request?
I sent two email, but not.
Oh, okay. They'll check for you. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right. Back to the request. Let's take it into committee.
Through you, Madam Chair, we have another neighbor.
Oh, sorry. I do see that. Thank you. Sorry. Karen.
I'm representing 16 Resolution Crescent, and I was just really chiming in because I saw her email is actually on, her request for a translator is actually on the documentation online. So it is there.
Okay.
It doesn't look like there was any response to her, but the email is there.
Okay, thank you very much.
No problem.
Can we start with your name and address, please?
Sorry, it's Karen Schreiber representing 16 Resolution Crescent.
Okay, and the applicant has requested a deferral. Do you have any concern with the deferral?
Nope, not at all.
All right, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now we can take it into committee. Mr. Bartolo.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you, I put forward a motion to defer this application to allow the applicant to modify the design and have the zoning review completed.
Thank you very much. Ms. Klein seconds that motion, and all in favor? That is carried. The application's been deferred. Item 26, 12 Tanager Avenue. This is an application to maintain the existing driveway as constructed. The variances for driveway width. On file, we have a survey, plans, site photos, transportation comments, and a letter of concern, but I don't go from 14 Tanager Avenue. So do we have our applicant?
Hello, good afternoon, Madam Chair and committee members. My name is Eddie Perez. I'm at 537 Rogers Road. We did the drawings for the client. We had no variances when we designed the house. And when the contractor built the driveway was built just 31 centimeters extra. That brought in this one variance at this point. So I feel that this is very minor in nature and it meets the 4 tests. If you need to answer any question, I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you.
All right. I did have a question, Mr. Perez. On the site plan, it shows a like sodded area between the driveway and the property line. But when I look at the photo, it looks like the driveway looks like it extends with a curb to the property line. Am I misinterpreting that?
No, the driveway width is exactly what's on the picture. I mean, on the site plan. It's 3.51 meters, the driveway.
But there's no grass on the other side of the driveway, according to the photo. Are you following me? Like, or is it just the property line is outside of where that curb is?
Can you put the picture up and I can have a look at it, please?
Can we have the site photo, please? The front. Yeah.
No, they have a property beyond that.
Oh, okay, beyond the curb?
Yeah, just the way the picture's taken.
Yeah, okay. Just wanted to clarify. It sort of stood out to me.
That's
All
correct.
right. Okay, so we have a neighbor who has some concerns. Let's hear from the neighbor. Hello,
Yes,
Mr.
hello.
Studley?
That's correct.
Okay, so just for the record, your name and address, please.
Name is Graham Stoodley. That's Stoodley. And the address is 14 Tanager Avenue, East York, etc.
All right.
I am the neighbor directly to the north of 12 Tanager. And I did submit an email as the instructions seemed to require. And I only have really 2 issues that I hope the committee might address for me. The first one is, because I'm blind, all the surveys and plans and pictures didn't really help me much understand whether the variance would extend into my property. I noticed, Madam Chair, that you commented there was no grass on the other side of the driveway. There is. The grass is, I hope, not quite mine.
Right. Okay. Yes. And the applicant clarified that for me. It's just from the photo that was submitted, it looked like there wasn't grass, but the applicant would not be able to encroach on your property to build anything. It has to be within their property boundaries.
Well, that's technically true, but of course, all right. I mean, that's what he's supposed to do. He was supposed to adhere to the 3.2 meter requirement, but that didn't happen either. So The fact that he shouldn't encroach on my property is the issue that I wanted to deal with in the first paragraph. As long as the committee is satisfied that the variance does not encroach on my property, I'm happy.
Okay, thank you. We'll let the applicant address your letter as well before we make a decision, okay?
I have a second
Yes.
issue as well. Do you want to deal with that now or with the first
Sure.
issue?
No, let's hear everything.
Okay. The other issue is the extension of the driveway by that 0.31 meters required the excavation of 12 inches of solid earth, including the destruction of the fiber optic cable that Rogers put between its trunk line and my house, and the puncturing of the sprinkler on my front lawn. When the excavation took place, it was followed by a large wooden wall that protected the demolition of the house, because this was an application where the house was at 12 Tanager was demolished and a new one constructed. I'm kind of curious whether the committee's concern with the reason for the variance is whether it was an accident or an intentional breach. I believe, if it matters to the committee, that it may have been accidental, but there was, if so, accident. Once the accident was discovered, there was no attempt to remedy it. No attempt, I guess, to put back the 1 foot of solid earth that had been excavated to achieve the variance. So, for my benefit, if I ever have to do this again, Madam Chair, is the committee concerned with intentionality, or just is this variance minor?
We have to consider the application as submitted. We are not aware of any of those issues that may have happened as a result of the construction. But we will let the applicant address it and see if he is aware of it, or was the owner contacted regarding this?
So the owners, I don't think the owner's at fault, to be blunt. I think the variance that occurred was the act of the builder, whether by mistake or design. That I can't tell, but I'm pretty sure, talking to my neighbor, Madam Chair, that he did not authorize the variance or was aware of it until it had been brought to his attention.
Okay, well, we'll let the applicant see what he has to say on that.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you for your comments. All right, let's have Mr. Perez back.
Oh, hi, Madam Chair again. As per the encroachment, I can assure you 100% there's no encroachment onto the neighbor's property. And as per what happened when they were doing the construction, we did the design, we weren't on site, so I'm not sure what happened at that point. The contractor, I made an error in the driveway. Instead of doing the 3.2 with 3.5, which is very minor, and we have transportation has no objection to it. So in their minds, it's also minor. And it wasn't an intent for the owners to make it wider. It just the contract had done already longer, so it was much easier just to come to the committee than start cutting everything back and taking away the look of it. So they didn't want to do that, so that's why we're before the committee. And like I said earlier, we had no variances whatsoever for the house. We got permits with not even one variance. Thank you very much. And if you have any question, I'll answer it. Thank you.
Just, are you aware of the issue regarding the sprinkler in the Rogers line?
No, like I told you at the onset, I was not on site, and I was never told anything about that, so I couldn't answer that question, to be honest.
All right, thank you. Okay. Ready to take it into committee? All right, let's do so. Mr. Bartolo.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair, through you. I sympathize for the neighbor if the fiber optic lines were damaged and whatnot. However, we can't fix that issue here. I mean, based on the information here before me, I'm gonna kind of chalk this one up to an honest mistake and an error on that side. It is minor, regardless of that, and therefore I will put forward a motion to approve this application.
All right, thank you. And Ms. Klein is seconding that motion. All in favor? That is approved. All right, we move on to 27, which is 29 Whittaker Crescent. The application is to permit a new 2-story dwelling. The 2 variances are for building height and lot coverage. On file, we have a survey, plans, tree protection plan, and an arborist report. I think this application is pretty minor. I don't think we need to have a presentation, but let's have our applicant.
Good evening, Madam Chair. My name is Nicole Parr at 22 Blue Forest Drive.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I don't think we don't need a presentation. We'll just take this into committee, okay?
Thank you very much.
All right. Give it a whirl, Camille.
Madam Chair, through you, a very straightforward application, numerically minor. I don't see any issues here. It meets the 4 tests. I will put forward a motion to approve this application.
All right, thank you. And Ms. Klein seconds the motion. All in favor? That is carried. Okay, item 28.
Thank you.
You're welcome. 521 Sutherland Drive. This is an application to expand a 1-story, construct a 1-story rear addition, 2nd-story addition above, and a new rear deck. The variances are for height of building setback to the south lot line, eave projection into south side yard, front yard soft landscaping. On file, we have a survey, plans, cover letter, photos, and 2 late letters of support. Too late letter, okay. So who is our applicant here?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and Committee. My name is Sasha Lee. I'm the applicant. I'm an architect. My address is 19 Stave Bank Road, and I'm representing the homeowners.
All right, we can hear you now. Just repeat your name, please. Because
sorry. My name is Sasha Lee.
Thank you.
I just want to point out that of the 4 variances, number 4, we are asking to have removed as we've reduced the size of the front porch, which would allow us to meet the soft landscaping requirements.
Okay. No other changes?
No other changes.
All right, thank you. Okay, we have a neighbor in support, it looks like. Online, I take it, since there's nobody here in person.
Okay, great.
We just have the one neighbor online, okay. Maybe we should just confirm that this person's in support.
Through you, Madam Chair, Robert Moore is unmuted.
All right, thank you. Mr. Moore, are you there?
Yes.
All right, just wanting to confirm you're in support of this application?
Yes, Madam Chair. I am the neighbour immediately to the south. That's 519 Sutherland Drive. When the extension was built, there were problems with access. I'm quite willing to have access through my driveway.
All right.
If you look at the plan, you'll see it's hard to get at.
Yes, I can see that.
It was the original house way back in 1946, and there was no planning, and the builder built at random, I think.
It's a very nice house.
Yeah, it is. It is. I've lived there since 1972, so I'm an old hand.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay.
I approve of what they're doing.
Great. Thank you very much. Okay. Back into my screen. Okay, Mr. Bartolo is ready to move a motion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think this is a very straightforward application that has support from the neighbors and no opposition, numerically minor, and I believe it meets the 4 tests. Therefore, I will put forward a motion to approve this application subject to variance number 4 being removed.
Thank you very much. Ms. Klein? Happy to second it. Great. Thank you. All in favor? That is carried. Okay. Application 29 is 198 Roselawn Avenue. And this is an application to alter an existing 3-story detached dwelling by constructing a rear 1-story addition. The variance is for floor space index. On file, we have a survey, plans, site photos, 1 late letter of support from 200 Roselawn Avenue. We have our applicant.
Good afternoon, committee. My name is Ken Davis. I'm the owner of Cage Davis Engineering Consultants Limited, and I'm the representative of the homeowner.
Thank you. And your address?
My address, company address is 1468 Danforth Avenue, Toronto, Ontario.
Thank you very much. Again, we appear to have somebody in support. And there's only the 1 variance, correct?
Yes, that's correct. It's just a very, very small addition to allow for improved flow from the living room into a family room area. So it's a very tiny addition.
Thank you. Let's just confirm again on this one that we have a Mr. Greenberg online.
Yes, I'm online. My name is Jeffrey Greenberg. I reside at 198 Roselawn Avenue. I own the property that is under consideration.
Okay, great. Yes, thank you. Sorry, I thought you were a neighbor. All right, so let's take this into committee. Mr.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair.
Bartolo.
Very minor variance. The FSI is very tight on these small, narrow lots. And I do not see any negative impact from this. Therefore, I will put forward an motion to approve this application.
Thank you very much. Ms. Klein, happy to second. Thank you very much. All in favor? That is approved.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, committee.
You're welcome. All right. Item 30, 17 Erica Avenue. This is to construct a new dwelling. We have variances for east side yard setback, front yard setback, rear platform encroachment into rear and west side yards, lot coverage, and building length. On file, we have a survey, revisions, revised plans, superseded plans, tree protection plan, arborist report, community planning staff report, urban forestry conditions, and 8 form letters of support. Let's have our applicant.
Yes, good afternoon. I'm Drew Laszlo, agent for the owner. My address is 193 Rowe Avenue.
Thank you, Mr. Laszlo. So we do have a neighbor who has concerns with the application. So could you just provide us a brief presentation?
Yes, thank you. You know, I have a few changes to the application.
Oh, yes, sorry, I forgot to ask you about that. Let's just deal with those first.
Great, thank you. So I'm going to modify variance number 2 to 6.74 meters for the front yard setback. So I'm increasing that. Variance number 5, I would like to modify that and slightly reduce the lot coverage to 35.75%, please.
Okay.
And finally, I'd like to totally eliminate variance number 6.
All right, great. Thank you. All right, now if you could provide us with a brief presentation.
Okay, thank you. So yes, the application today is for a 2-story dwelling. We have 5 variances now that I've removed variance number 6. I can just briefly go over them. The first one has to do with the east side yard setback. It's supposed to be 1.8 meters, asking for 1.52 meters. Second variance has to do with the front yard setback. Again, I've increased that by a foot or 0.3 meters. So we are now at 6.74 meters, supposed to be at 7.59 meters. Variances numbers 3 and 4, for all intents and purposes, are the same thing. They have to do with how much the rear deck is encroaching into the rear yard setback. We're permitted to encroach 2.5 meters, but we are proposing to have a deck that encroaches 2.84 meters. And again, both those variances really the same thing. And then the final variance, number 5, has to do with the lot coverage. 30% is permitted. We're asking for 35.75%. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's hear from the neighbor. Sure. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Mr. Laszlo, just reading the staff recommendations and then looking at the amendments you made, maybe I misheard, but are your changes in line with the community planning staff report?
Yes, they are identical.
Okay, so that lot coverage is 35.44 and the front yard is 6.74.
The lot coverage, I'm reducing it to 35.75.
Okay, 0.75. Okay, because there's a recommendation here to develop substantially in accordance with the drawings dated January 14th, which is obviously very recent.
Okay, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead.
That had to do with a discrepancy. When we calculate the coverage, we end up at 35.44. When the examiner calculated the coverage, they end up with a number slightly higher than ours. So that's why we asked the technician to kind of, in the staff report, to up the number slightly, just in case, like when we go in for our zoning review, we go in for permit, if this application is to be approved, so it doesn't, because our number is lower than what the examiner's number is the bottom line. So we've asked them to add a bit onto it.
Right, and it's a very small, like it's numerically, it's very small. I'm not too concerned about that. I just don't want to say we approve this, tie it substantially in accordance with the site plan that doesn't work. You understand what I'm getting at?
So does the January 14th site plan show, would it reflect a coverage of 35.75 or the 35.44?
That's the tough part. When we calculate it, we calculated 35.44, but the examiner is coming up with a number that is approximately 0.2 higher.
Right.
Okay, so but the site plan should be fine to attach the site plan to the
Correct.
table.
Okay, so you're saying some of these calculations are takeoff on the site plan. They're slightly off depending on who's doing the measurements here.
Correct.
Okay, I think I can work around this. Fair enough.
All right. Okay, let's hear from the neighbor now. Oh, he's on the phone. Okay.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Please introduce yourself and speaking about that. Hi,
Sorry for my apologies for delaying. I'm right now. I'm James Ward. I live at 20 Erica. I had a couple of concerns about the application. I know there was a similar application roughly across the street from you a few years ago, and the applicant met with the neighbors and resolved the concerns in advance in that case. The application requests that the minimum east side setback of 1.8 meters is not to be maintained. I'm objecting in that I don't want houses to be too close together. I'm also concerned about not maintaining the front yard setback of 7.59 meters, which is standard throughout the neighborhood. If you look at the other houses in the neighborhood, the garages are roughly in line with the front porches of the houses. The difference between the front of the garage and the front of the house, for every house except possibly one on our entire street, is less than 30 centimeters. So I don't want a house with a great big huge garage sticking out in front. If you want to make the house a little bit bigger, then pull the front part of the house itself towards the allowable line, similar to the frontage that is in existence in the existing house. I also have concern, what is the proposed height above grade of the rear platform? The soil in our neighborhood is extremely dense clay, and the neighbors behind us built a large deck, which has resulted in considerable flooding in our backyard. And I want to avoid that for your back neighbors. So if the deck you're proposing is close to grade, then that's fine. I'm not objecting to that. But the house behind us, their first floor is close to 2 meters above grade, which has resulted in all this flooding in the backyard. The east step back is maintained at 1.8 meters. The total building length will only be a few centimeters over the allowable as per the zoning. So if you maintain that 1.8 meter setback, I don't object to the house being a few centimeters over the allowable length. The other concern is I want assurances that the existing tree in the front of the house is protected. When they renovated the house next door to us, they ripped out all the trees. And the tree in your front yard is sufficiently large that it should be protected. I guess that's it for now.
All right, thank you very much. We'll let the applicant address those concerns. Any questions of the resident? No? All right, let's go back to Mr. Laszlo.
Okay, thank you. With regards to the trees, yes, so we've already submitted a tree protection plan, and we're obliged to apply for, any permits to injure any trees where that might be required. So we deal with this all the time, and we're going to protect all those trees, of course. With regards to the rear deck, it is no more than a foot above the adjacent grade, so that should appease the neighbor a bit. With regards to the east side yard setback, so the setback of that neighbor, number 19, to the left there, to the east, their setback is only about 0.75 meters. We're asking for a slight reduction. We're supposed to be at 1.8. We're asking for slightly over 1.5. I think there's minimal impact. And again, if we put a fence up, there's a possibility that the new owner of the property is going to put a fence up. Then I guess the neighbor to the east won't even really know what the setback of our house is, if it's 5 feet or 6 feet. 1.2 meters, funny enough, is actually quite a common variance to be granted in this neighborhood. And again, we're asking for the slightly over 1.5 meters. Planning staff have no issues with that side yard setback either. And one thing just to keep in mind, the portion of our house that is set back 1.5 meters, it doesn't go the full 17 meters that the house is permitted to be. right? It's only, you can see like the second floor and the first floor of our house is stepped back quite a bit, like as far as the length of the house is concerned. You can just see if staff wants to just pull out and just look at the footprint of the proposed house overall, you can see what I'm talking about. You can see the east side of our house is shorter than the west side of the house, which is 17 meters deep. Okay, last but not least, let's talk about the front yard setback variance. There was a lot of back and forth between myself and staff. We did slightly increase that front yard setback variance. One thing that's kind of very important here to keep in mind, the part that does project into the front yard, so the front of the garage that projects into the required front yard setback, that's only a one-story portion. And if staff could just zoom out so we can see, and it's going to be a bit difficult to explain, I'll do my best. So the whole kind of hatched area with the diagonal hatches where it says proposed one-story portion, that's over the garage. Okay, then you can see as you move east or you move left, the house is fully stepped back. Bottom line, in a nutshell, the second floor of this house, just kind of averaging everything out, is approximately 4 meters stepped back from the front required setback. So that kind of more than balances out the small amount that we have projecting into the front yard setback. And if I did have a chance, is that it's the front setback, like the garage that's being proposed here, will be covered in trees. You know, again, it's only one story. It's not going to have much of an effect on the streetscape because there's only really 5 houses on this side of the street. So yes, they are in line, but having a slight projection by a couple feet for one of the houses is not going to disrupt that streetscape in any way, shape, or form, especially due to the fact that the second floor of this house is stepped back an additional 4 meters. Thank you very much. I hope that clarified things a bit.
And the proposed garage is unexcavated underneath, right? Like it's at grade, okay. So it would have less impact, hopefully, on the trees.
Correct.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant? No? All right. We will take this into committee.
Thank you, Madam Chair, through you. I've listened to the applicant's submission and reviewed the staff report material. I'm of the opinion that it meets the 4 tests, and I understand kind of the step back nature that was explained to us. Therefore, I will put forward a motion to approve this application subject to the following revisions and conditions. Variance number 2 be amended to 6.74 meters. Variance number 5 be amended to 35.75%. Variance number 6 be eliminated and subject to the conditions of the urban forestry memo attached. Correction to my own, and that this variance number 2 and 5 for the front yard land setback and lot coverage be developed substantially in accordance with the site plan drawings dated January 14th, 2026.
All right, thank you. Seconder, Ms. Klein, thank you. All in favor? That is carried. The application as amended has been approved. And I believe that is it. Correct? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
A motion to adjourn this meeting.
At
30 p.m.
Thank you. And a seconder, Mr. Bartolo. No, we don't need that. You refuse. You want to keep going? Can we dig up some additional files for Mr. Bartolo? We're leaving, but he can stay. Yeah, okay. I take it all in favor? All right. Thank you very much to staff today and to my fellow committee members. It was a good meeting.